and you guys are in an open relationship.
Yeah.
You guys have been dating for 3 months, and you guys do content together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You do content together, and you're in a poly open relationship where you're dating other men romantically, and you're dating other women romantically.
No, it's just sexually open.
Oh, for the content.
Sexually open for the content, yes.
So you're not romantically, but sexually you do see other people.
Yes, sexually.
And you will sleep with them together.
Yes, and I will marry Sophia one day.
You're going to marry her.
Yes.
Okay. So you guys are going to get married. You've been dating for 3 months. You guys produce content.
More than I can say.
What's up?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Huh?
Oh, I said
Now
that's
you,
more than what I can say.
Okay.
So
Well, hold
bad.
on.
I try not to talk past anybody. My bad. Go ahead.
So if I'm trying to recall correctly, you
guys are in a relationship yourselves, like a romantic relationship
Yes, but
between each other.
Yeah, openly we sleep with other people as well, but romantically we're together, yes.
Okay, so you consider her your girlfriend, but you don't consider other girls your girlfriend. You just consider other girls that you sleep with.
Yes.
Sex talk.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So you are a cuck.
Define a cuck, please.
A cuck is a person who purposely allows their women to get by other men.
For money, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, wait. You wouldn't let her sleep with other men if they weren't paying her?
No, they're not paying her. Let's get that right. We make content. We get paid for content. So, yes, we involve other people because it makes more money. And again, that's why I allow it. Again, romantically, yes, when we're 30 years old with a child and we slow down with all the money we've got in the bank, we can live happily ever after. So, yes.
So you do let other men f your woman on purpose,
Yeah, and
right?
she lets me f other women.
Sure. I understand that.
Yeah.
But you would be a cuck, correct?
I just don't like that saying, but we do it.
I mean, I'm sure you don't, but I mean, that's what a cuck is somebody who lets another man purposely f their woman, right? That's a cuck.
Yeah, if I'm a cuck, I'm a cuck, yeah.
I don't think Andrew's trying to insult you. I think he's
No,
just
no,
I'm just trying to clarify it.
Again, it's what it is, isn't it? Again, we're young. We're probably in a better position than you was when you was 23. Again, no throwing shade, but I just don't feel like being a slave to a religion is going to get you anywhere in life. It's good praying, it's good doing your thing, but I just want to live life, earn money, and be happy.
I mean, it's way better to let people f your old lady. All self-respecting men do that.
Yeah, but sex is just sex. Again, I think it's like you take
Money's
it to...
just money.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but money gets you places.
money gets you places.
Sex
Sex
doesn't.
don't.
Where does money get you?
Money. But,
Does it get you to a place where other men f your old lady?
yeah.
Is that where it gets you?
Yeah, it takes me on flights. It takes me to buy a house. To buy a house. It takes me to buy a car. It takes me to buy the jewelry I've got on. It takes me to buy the clothes I've got on. So if I
And what's
believe in
the
God and I'm
price?
poor, what's
That's
the
really
point?
expensive money to allow the person that you're in love with to get dishonored by other men.
We
don't you
enjoy it.
think? You enjoy? Why?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're in a different level. So you enjoy the fact that your old lady gets by
I
other
enjoy
dudes?
sex. She enjoys sex. Other people enjoy sex. So why not? Let's just have fun.
Yeah, so do you enjoy the fact that she's getting humped by other men?
I don't enjoy it. We just do it. We get on with it. We have fun. Yeah, well, I enjoy it. Yeah, I do enjoy it because it's.
You do enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever watch it? Do you ever watch other dudes plow your chick, dude?
I don't watch the videos back, but in the action, I'm watching. Yeah, it's quite horny to be honest.
So you get off to it?
Well, it's horny. Yeah, in the act. Yeah, if I'm sleeping with someone else and she's sleeping with someone else, and yeah, it's just horny. It's
It
just
sounds like
nice.
you're the slave.
Nah,
It sounds like I'm free and you're the slave.
Huh,
You know what
no,
I never
definitely
have
not,
to worry
brother.
about?
Huh?
I never have to worry about another dude fucking my old lady at my behest because I'm not a slave to my lust. And I never have to worry about the fact that I can make an honorable buck because I'm not a slave to the money either. It sounds like you're the slave.
No.
It sounds like I'm the one who's free.
No, definitely not. Again, I was a slave when I done my demolition. I was getting up at stupid o'clock, getting paid bad money. And then now I'm living life. I'm doing social media full time. I do content full time. I've got a beautiful woman by my side that I'm going to marry and have kids with one day. And yeah, if we enjoy sex, why not? Well, what's the big deal? Sex is sex. Adam and Eve had sex, so what's the big deal?
Well, I didn't say that sex is the big deal. The big deal is whether or not you have what is considered virtue and honor. Other men,
Who cares about
for
honour in
instance,
10 years' time?
Well, I'm going to explain it to you if you want the answer.
Yes, Karen?
Other men are always going to see you as a cuck. They're going to see you as less than a man, and the reason they're going to see you as less than a man is because you purposely allow other men to bone your chick.
Yeah.
So, because they consider this to be low virtue, they're always going to consider you to be lesser than them, no matter how poor they are. The poorest man on this planet is always going to consider himself richer than
Satan's
you.
Little Helper 95 donated $200. Andrew is the perfect example of modern Christians, cherry-picking what he follows of God's word based on his own opinions. Treats everyone he disagrees with awful. Berates, belittles, insults.
I
So
haven't
godly.
belittled anybody. In fact, we've just been arguing our various points. There's no belittlement. Right now, we're engaged in what's called an argument.
Yeah.
So I'm explaining to you that the poorest man on planet Earth who has a virtuous wife who is loyal to him is always going to consider himself richer than any amount of money that you give yourself based on the fact that you let other men bone your chick. You understand that, right?
Yeah, but again, you're saying poorer, but again, if I'm making money and we enjoy it, what is the problem? I don't care what anyone thinks. I'll get death threats on the daily.
Well,
I don't
problem
care.
is, yeah, right. So I mean, if you don't care about virtue, if you are a slave to your own sin, your own vice, then you're in what's called prelest. And the thing is that shaking you out of prelest is next to impossible. You have now told me multiple times the thing which you value in life, the only thing which you value, is money.
Yes.
God's not going to feed you. He's not going to clothe you. He's not
he
going to
won't.
take care of you.
He won't.
Though there's almost every other thing on planet Earth you could do to make money. You took the easy path to make money,
And I will.
and you shared the one thing that men never share, which is their woman, in order to do it. That's why all men everywhere will always consider you lesser than they are.
Was
Than they are, yeah.
Are you married?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was your wife a virgin when you met her?
No.
No, so she's probably been shagged by a lot of dudes. So what's the
No,
difference?
she hasn't been shagged by a lot of dudes.
How many dudes has she shagged before you?
Well, we have 5 kids, and the thing is that she shagged less people than she has kids. And on top of that, let me ask you a question. If every single person that your chick slept with got her pregnant, how many kids would you have?
You do realise most women lie about the body counts, so that your wife probably has banged quite a few more people than what?
No,
Okay.
she hasn't. So
But
again,
that's
I'm
You don't
asking
know
the
that.
question.
Just you being
Here's the
deluded.
question. The question is, how many kids would you have if every time you banged a new dude you got pregnant? How many kids would you have?
We wear rubbers, so that we wouldn't.
Yeah, I know. That's not. You understand what a hypothetical is? If it were true that. So if it were true that every time you slept with a dude you got pregnant, how many kids would you have?
I thought we don't keep count. We just
So
enjoy it.
what? I mean, would that studio be a nursery right now? Would it require
Does that matter, though?
5 or 6 full-time care workers to take care of all the kids that were in there? Is
How's
that
this-
how many kids you would have?
How's this relevant, may I ask?
What's that?
How's this relevant? You're going on about nursery
Well,
kids.
it is
and
relevant.
Imaginary
because you're-
babies.
You're
like,
trying
what
to
the
make
fuck?
you're trying to make an accusation that somehow, because my wife was not a virgin when I married her,
and you're
that's
some big
equatable to me allowing other men to f my wife, and clearly it's not. It clearly there's a distinction in virtue.
Yeah, but your wife's been f***ed, so who cares? Again, without being crude, I do have respect for you, but your wife has been f***ed before you, so why does it matter?
Yeah. So what?
What do you
does it
think? Yeah,
have to
so
do with
what with me?
anything?
So what? She sleeps with other men
Do
when
I
I'm
do
there.
I go and let other men f my wife on purpose? No.
You might get-
do that.
you might get it up,
let
mate.
Other men. You let
You might
other
get it
men
up.
stick their junk in your chick's mouth, and then you kiss her the next day, bro.
Yeah, she loves it.
Yeah.
I love it.
And you think that that's equatable to the fact that my wife wasn't a virgin when we got married? I
Yeah.
wasn't a virgin either.
Yeah, see, so I don't get
It's
your
the same.
point.
Oh, it's the same. It's just like letting other random strangers plow your chick.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Again, I'm a Gen Z and you're old-fashioned. Again, I've probably made more money than you was when you
Oh
were
yeah,
younger.
it's real
so-
old-fashioned to not let other men stuff your chick. What an old-fashioned,
who
stodgy
cares?
old man I really am.
Who
What an
cares?
old-fashioned, stodgy son of a.
Who
that
cares
I
in
don't
10
let
years?
other dudes stuff my chick.
Who cares in 10
You know,
years?
I'm a real fuddy-duddy. I'm a real fuddy-duddy.
No, but who, again, going back, who cares in 10 years when it's all forgotten about and we're living a happy life in a lovely mansion,
It
lovely
ain't going to be
Ferrari?
forgotten about.
It
No
will
one's
be
ever going to
forgotten
forget
about.
that you're a cuck. You came on one of the
God
largest
damn.
IRL podcasts on planet Earth and told the world you're a cuck. No one's
Yeah,
ever going to
love
forget
it.
that, bro.
Love it.
Who do you
Subscribe to
think's going to
Sister
forget
Bella.
that? When your kids,
See my
if you ever
cock.
have them get old, they're going to come back and they're going to be like, little Johnny's going to be in the schoolyard and dude's going to
Schoolyard?
walk over, kid's going to walk over, he's going to be like, look, your dad's a f***ing cuck, Johnny? And you're going to be like,
well done.
yeah, that's true. I did allow other men on purpose to your mother, Johnny, but that's because I'm a real man.
Little
I
Johnny-
care about money.
Little Johnny would be going private school and wouldn't have to worry about money.
But it's
Yeah,
like
little
respect.
Johnny's.
school.
Listen, you
I
think
like it.
that private
Don't bother me.
school's going to stop little Johnny
private
from
school,
knowing
all right, well, I'll
that
go
you
with-
allowed other men on purpose to f his mom? No, he's going to know, bro. Your kid ain't going to be nearly as stupid as you think.
That's
they
fine.
know.
That's fine. And I will tell little Johnny, because the money we've got and the lovely things we've got and a lavish life he will have, that yes, it did happen. We lived life. And again, we have different morals to granddads and grandmas, you know, because
Sure.
again, I know you have a
Yeah.
different perspective on life and you're a slave to your religion, but it is what it
You're a
is.
slave to money.
Yes,
I'm
I am.
free.
We're
You're
all
the
slaves to
slave.
money. Do you have a job?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, you're a slave to money, like me.
That's a slave?
Yeah, you're a
Having
slave.
a job?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, I'll have a job.
Yeah,
Shagging.
so wait. I just want you to, just so that we're clear, look directly in that camera and tell 100
I'm
million
over there.
I will
men
do.
that they're slaves
What's this
because they
one?
don't let other men their chick for money and instead they have jobs. Go
Yes,
ahead.
yes. If you want a good lifestyle
Yes.
and you don't let other people f- your missus, you're missing out and you're a slave.
You're missing out. Ladies and gentlemen, you're missing out. If you have one of those stupid jobs where you're supporting your family and you're not letting Chad f your chick for cash, you're missing out, ladies and gentlemen. You are
Andrew! Oh my God!
Yes, you hit
I
me
want
on
to
the
give credit to Bevo. Do you prefer Brandon or
Hey, Bevo,
Bevo's fine.
we're on the thing, yeah.
You're being a good sport.
Yeah,
Andrew's,
no, I'm
Andrew's
fair,
coming
I'm
at
fair
you.
with it. I'm fair with it. Listen,
You're
again,
being a good sport. I appreciate
when
it.
you first come on, I was bored, like with all this God talk, and listen again to everyone here.
Yeah, we need this kind of
Yeah,
shit.
I respect
It's
your
great.
religion. I get it, but I personally, all I care about is money, living life, and making money for my children and my mother and my family, and my wife to be Sophia. So I couldn't give a flying toss about God. Anyway, I could name them all, but yeah, I don't care personally. That's just me.
Wait, question. Did you grow up like religious or not religious?
No, East End household. No, atheist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, one question for you. I mean, would it be
Were
preferable?
both your parents in your life by chance?
So yes, No, there wasn't. I'll be honest. So my mum and dad split up when I was about 3-4 years old. And then
Yeah.
I had my stepfather that got married to my mum pretty quickly, and yeah, he's been there ever since. So I've had a dad all the time. Again, I see my dad, but yeah, I've had my stepfather. I'll call him dad as well because he's been there all the time. And yeah,
Sure.
they've been in a happy marriage of 18 years.
Look,
and
there's nothing wrong.
No,
There-
nothing wrong with
listen,
that.
I'm not knocking you having a strong male role model in your life. What does your stepdad think about other dudes plowing your chick, though? What does he say about that?
Again, he hasn't really said much, but if I showed him my bank balance, he'd be like, "Go on, son."
Really?
Yeah, definitely. But it's a different life we live in now.
Would you tell your kid to let other dudes plow his chick for money?
If you enjoy it and you're earning money, why not? Again, we're different. How old are you, may I ask? Again, I'm not being disrespectful.
I'm 40.
You're 40, so my dad's a little bit older than you. It's a different life we live because what my dad said, he's like, I'm very jealous of the money you make because back in his day, he didn't have access to social media, and do you know what I mean? And he even told me, do it, son. Why not? You're making the money, you're enjoying life. Why not? And again, in 10 years' time, when I settle down with the love of my life to the left of me, and have children, and I've got all the money in the world, happy days. Why not? Who gives a f? Who cares? Who cares? And God ain't going to be there to save me. God, whatever. I don't care. Money's God to me.
Yeah, I agree. Money's God to you.
Yeah.
And you're a slave to that God.
If you're a slave to your
Whereas
God.
my God gave me free will. In fact, my God rejects slavery. That is part of the religion, that it must be something which you come to on your own. I am the opposite of a slave. You, on the other hand, are completely and totally enslaved to materialism to the point where you can't see the objectively valuable thing in front of you. Listen, the objectively valuable thing, which is right next to you, is your woman. That is the most objectively
her.
valuable thing you'll ever have, and you sell her to other men
Do I sell you?
for money.
No. She enjoys it. I enjoy it. Why not?
Because do you have no sense of pride or dignity?
Pride, yeah.
Any sense of virtue at all? Do you have any self-respect
I
at
have
all?
respect. Yeah, of course you do. And there's boundaries. Of course there's boundaries. But again, we live life. We're young.
What are the boundaries?
money.
You can only suck a guy's on Tuesday? Like, what are the boundaries here?
It's actually Fridays.
Friday. It's actually Friday. Friday, yeah.
Wait, I got
mean,
Go on. Next.
I got a quick question for you. Like, just curious. I mean, if you could have her stop sleeping with other men, like, would you prefer that over the current status quo? Like, if you're like, and you could keep it open on your end.
No, of course not, because it goes both ways. How
You'd
I look
want
at
it both
No,
ways.
of course, because I have respect for women. Like, if I can't do something, she can't do it. If she can do something, I can do it, you know? So I'm not going to say, yeah, I can sleep with all these birds and you can't sleep with all these men, because it's unfair. So, no, well...
Let's say she was down for that, though. She's like, babe, I don't want to sleep with any other guys, but you can keep sleeping with girls if you want to.
I would be respectful.
So you would
and
just
say,
close it off?
Yeah, I'd close
it
it
off.
off. Yeah, 100%. Because I have respect, and you might not think I haven't, but I have. And again, if it's making money and we're having fun, why not? Listen, you get one life. Why are you stressing about God? Come on now. That's just how I act. It is.
Well, I'm not stressing about God. I understand that you are a virtueless, pre-lust-filled individual. I don't care, right? Ultimately, I'm on the show, though, to talk specifically about the paradigm of world.
Grid 1 Motorsports donated $200. If a man called me a cuck,
baby.
his teeth would look worse than the limey. I would be working in a BK for Mike Davis before I let man bang my wife. No man will ever be able to ask me how his dyke tastes.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's
Well, so this is the thing, right? Is like
I can't read it.
this is what we were alluding to earlier.
Thank
What
you,
I'm
good
saying
one.
to you is that my job here is specifically to push back against worldviews. I have a worldview. You have a worldview. That's what I'm here to do, is push back on that. You yourself being a cuck who lets other dudes stuff your wife on purpose. I'm not here to come in.
Dylan Lolly donated $200. The revaluationary war losers go like this. Cuck 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 cuck.
All I hear is
Watch the Rolex real quick.
money, 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 money. That's money. That's all I hear is money. So, whatever. innit?
Right, because you're a slave to money.
Yeah,
How
and
can
you're a
you
slave
not
to
say
God.
that you're a slave to money? It's the only thing you value. You value money over the virtue of your own woman.
We have just been
How are
told
you
that
not
we-
a slave to money?
Say that again, sorry.
How are you not enslaved to money if you value it over the virtue of your own woman?
I listen, if you have a 9 till 5, I'm not disrespecting, but I am financially free. I can buy what I want. I can do what I want. When I was working a job for probably conversion to dollars pre about $600 a week, I was spent 12 hours a day working. I would go home, have a shower, eat my dinner, go to bed, go back to work 6 days a week. That is a slave to someone else, your boss. That is a slave.
That's not enslavement.
It's a slavery. It's slavery.
No,
Yes.
it's
And
not
if I can get my
enslavement.
cock out and make money, I will.
Offering added value and service to the world, which makes it a better place, the opposite of enslavement. You working a job, providing goods and services to other individuals is something which is highly valuable. I would value
about
that.
value?
in
Chris
Son of a
donated
granddad, mate.
$200. Andrew, he doesn't let her bang other men. She obviously wears the pants and wants this, and he has to agree with it. Stop pretending like he has a choice. He is weak.
Okay.
He can't defend himself. Cuck.
I love that word. I love it.
Yeah, but anyway, so back to this. There's a lot of value which is being added here. If you have a job, you're providing goods and services that people need, right? They need those services.
Yeah, I know they
that's
need-
important.
I know I need
you,
money.
Though, you hang on. You strip all the value off. Your money, the money that you earn is cheap. It's cheap money. It's cheap money and it's valueless. You worship it. And instead, you give the thing that you should value the most, which is your wife, you give her away as a whore to other men.
She's not a
and you
whore.
say, me being a and making money, that's the most important thing. Well, how could a man ever respect somebody who has no virtue like that? How could they do that?
Again, we're young, we're making money, we're living life. And again, when I'm 30 years old and I want to have children and I want to relax it a bit, again, I still do social media, but I won't be as open as we are. We're living cushy, do what we want when we want. And yeah, we settle down then. But who cares? Sex is great, money's great, filming it's great. Why not?
So
Andrew.
what happens when you're 40?
I'll be living in my mansion with a nice Ferrari on the drive with my beautiful kids and my beautiful wife. So
I
think
just
that's-
want to let you know, here's a good piece of wisdom for you that you'll ignore, but I'll give it to you anyway. When people get cheap money, they spend money cheaply. And what ends up happening is it cheapens them, and they end up with no money, and they end up without any of the things which they thought the cheap money was going to bring them. They never end up with those things. money which comes easy go or easy come, it's also easy go.
of
That's
course.
why you have what's called the lottery curse. The lottery curse is most people who win the lottery end up broke within just a few years. And the reason is because the money came cheap. Money came cheap, and so it's easy out the window. You'll never value it nearly as much as you would value the virtue of your woman, but you gave that away.
That's not true. I would say, like, if you have, like, healthy relationship with your money, your financials most definitely going to grow. Just depends on how you invest in yourself. If you keep spending, if you spend more time spending, then you lose more money. But if you work,
Most workers
More.
end up broke. Most workers end up broke. Most lottery winners end up broke. They almost always.
are
end
you
up
a
broke.
sex worker? If you're not, then
No.
if you're not a sex
so
worker,
I have
then you
to be
shouldn't
the
have
thing
anything
in
to
order
say.
to comment on the thing. That's
Yeah,
fine.
if you're not a sex worker or
Okay.
anything like that, or have done anything, you don't
Can I
have the
screw
right
in a
to say.
light bulb if I'm not an electrician?
That has nothing to compare to
Yeah,
like
it
sex
does.
work.
That's the same logic. You're saying you can't
That's
comment
not
on
the
this
same
thing 'cause you're not
logic.
the thing.
That's
That makes
not.
no sense.
That's
Yeah,
not
it's
the same logic.
Yeah, it is. It's the same logic. The logic is you can't comment on the thing if you're not the thing. I can't comment on prostitution if I'm not a prostitute. I can't screw in a light
Yeah,
bulb
because
if I'm not an
a
electrician.
light
It makes
bulb
no
is so
sense.
much different. You can put on a light bulb in 2 seconds. Being like, as a content creator full time, you do that day in, day out like a job. Like how you attend this podcast is different. So you
Yeah,
have
so
no
what?
idea.
I have
You
no
will
idea
never
what.
know. You will never
I
know
can't make
until you put
wait, I
yourself in
can't-
someone's
so
shoes.
I just want to make sure I got this clear.
So your
I
opinion
can't
does
make-
not matter at the end of the day. We will never
Oh,
take
I
advice
see,
from
I
you
see.
because you're not
Do
a
you
sex
vote?
worker.
Do you-
If you
do
were a
you-
sex worker, then we would take advice from you.
Okay. Do you vote?
Yeah, I vote.
Yeah, I don't
vote.
understand. Why do you vote? You're not a politician. You'll never understand.
Because I
want
want to choose who to govern.
Oh, right.
country
so
that I
wait,
live
you-
in?
So wait a second. So you can have a say even though you're not a politician. That's really weird.
It's more
What are
the
you talk-
respect of people have fought for the decision for that certain thing, but no one's fought for you to have a decision on sex work.
Yeah,
There's people
they've
that's
been
lost
fighting about it
lives.
for the last 100 years. They've been fighting about the decision on work.
How?
Well, I mean, feminism is part of sexual liberation. Sexual liberation is the promotion also of sex work.
Yeah, but
That is a political. It's a political agenda.
There's not been wars over sex work. There's been wars over voting. That's the
religion.
difference.
Oh yeah, where? Where's there ever been a war over voting?
No, someone died over voting.
You don't know, right? You just made it up, right?
no,
like, you don't know.
no, I
You just-
learned
you
it in
just think
history
so. It
and
just sounded
still-
good, so you just said it, right?
Yeah, but there's wars over religion. I won't get into it, but there's wars over religion, which
Yeah,
I
there's also
disagree,
war over
which I
atheism.
disagree
You ever
with
heard of
because-
communism? That's an atheistic. Mode of governance, and what they did was kill all the religious. Just so you know. So you act like religion is the only way in which there's going to be war. We have these massive atheistic armies like the communists had, and what they did was put all the religious to the sword. So it's not like your guys' hands are clean.
I'm saying most wars are based on religion. I won't say again we're not clean.
No, I wouldn't
but-
say most wars are based on religion. I'd say most of them are based on resources, but that's just me.
Okay.
Let's move things on a little bit. That was good. We'll hear a bit more from some of the other panelists. That was a good exchange.
Bree, you skipped my now irrelevant read. Panel, how many 18-plus-year-olds have you heard say my parents effed the whole county and I'm not a suicidal heroin addict?
Wait, what? Sorry if I, Gracie. Sorry if I skipped something. I must have. I don't see it here. Was it a super chat, or was it? But the question is, how many 18-plus-year-olds have you heard say my parents effed the whole country? And I'm not as. Is this a rhetorical
I
question?
think this applies to Brandon.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you, man. Okay, so that was pretty crazy. Let's see. We have Sophia, but she's.
I
up-
mean, the question applies, right? So, Brandon, how many people who are in your industry who have children, whose children are proud of them, that they share their wife around, or vice versa?
You love coming back to me. don't
Yeah,
you?
Andrew.
Well, the question was
got a
directed
hard
at you.
Andrew,
The
brother,
debate
listen.
God.
Go to church
The question
on
was
church on
directed
Sunday.
at you, Brandon.
Go to church on Sunday. Do your praying. Be your slave, and let's carry on. Because I'm tired. I'm jet lagged to. I've got a
Don't
headache.
be a
you know.
wimp, dude. Just
Don't
answer
be
the
a wimp.
question the super chatter asked you.
Oh
The
my
super
God.
chatter's asking this question because he wants to know what your answer is.
To what? I'm summing up very quickly. 'cause I
So
can't be
his
bothered.
question is, how many of the people you know inside of this industry
Yeah.
who allow their wife or significant other to be shared or are engaged in have children who are proud of them. That's what the intent of his question is.
Listen, and I'm saying this once and we're cracking on. We're in the Gen Z. We can make money multiple ways. I don't know anyone that's had children that do what
You're not
we
answering
do.
the question. The question is how
and
many of those children are proud
I
of their
don't know
parents?
any children, so let's move on. Thank you very much.
You're not going to answer the question?
I don't know any children. How many times have I got to say? You're pissing me
Yeah,
off.
I know you don't have children. That's not what the question
pissing me
was.
off.
Listen to what the question is. How many of these people in this industry that you deal with who have children, whose children are proud of them?
Have you checked on your wife? She might be getting f***ed at the minute.
Now, are you going to answer my f***ing question?
No, bro,
or are you gonna
move
give
on,
it
bro.
again?
You're pissing me off, bro. Just move on.
Yeah, I don't care if I'm pissing you off. You
Bro,
yap,
look
you
out, bro.
whiny.
Wait. I'll walk
Shut
out,
your
bro.
mouth and answer the f***ing question.
Off, go pray.
Wait,
you cunt.
Andrew,
Shut your
Fuck
short
off.
midget
If he
mouth and
doesn't-
answer the
Fuck off.
fucking question.
Andrew, if he doesn't
I don't
wanna
care if I
answer-
make
Fuck
you
off,
Nazi.
Wait,
You're
Andrew,
God,
Andrew.
Bob, bro. You're fucking boring from the
If-
start, you prick.
No,
Wait, guys,
I'm
guys,
bored.
guys,
You're
guys.
Oh,
just gonna
fuck
whine
no,
and
fuck
answer
this.
the question.
Listen, thank you, God bless you.
Intel Wild.
Oh, you're gonna leave? Oh, the light is gonna
Look
leave.
up
Go
Grant
pray.
Oh, you're
and
gonna
directly
leave?
into the
If
camera
you-
and
Are you gonna
smile
go
big
cry
face.
with your wife who gets by other men? Are you gonna go cry with your wife who gets by other dudes? Are you gonna go cry with her?
He doesn't have to answer the question.
You're gonna go cry? You're gonna
wife's getting
Scotty?
Your
Are you
wife's
gonna
getting
show
guys,
Scotty
guys,
and
guys,
wife?
Your wife's getting
Are you gonna
Hold on,
show the
Andrew,
Your
guys,
wife's
guys,
pushing
guys, stop,
kids
stop,
up.
stop, stop.
You're a
Yeah,
father
what are
to
you gonna-
you're a
what-
father to
all
other
I
people's
saw
child.
you
No,
do
bro, I'm
is
backing
whine and
myself.
cry.
I'm backing
Why don't
myself.
you answer
No,
the question?
your wife,
Answer the question. Stop
your
being a
wife's
cunt.
getting f***ed right now.
$9.
Stop being a
Hold on,
cunt.
hold on.
Stop. Are you gonna
If
rage
you are
quit?
okay with your
Rage quit? No, because I'm bored of your god
Yeah,
shit,
you're gonna
bro.
rage quit.
I'm bored of your god
Hold on,
shit.
Yeah.
No,
Why don't you go back with your
Listen, no
girl?
disrespect,
Go
but
on,
he's
Chuck.
boring me.
asking for me.
Look,
I've got better things to do in LA.
Look,
Yeah, you gotta go
Hold on.
fuck. What? You got better things to do? You gonna go have your
Andrew,
wife get
hold on.
fucked by a
But
bunch
wait,
of dudes,
Fuck,
bro?
yeah, your missus gets f***ed on the
Wait,
daily,
both of
mate.
you-
Yeah,
Don't
and the
worry.
only person that gets fucked around here is your missus.
Yeah,
by
yeah, we
every
love
both
it.
of you-
thing
Men know how to
outside
be
this
friends,
fucking
right?
battle.
well, yeah, seriously.
Men know
love
how
it.
to be
We love
friends.
it.
Can both of you just stop for a sec? Look, Andrew, if he doesn't want to answer the question, that's fine. We don't need to
The
press him
only
on that.
person who Mrs.
Oh, go
Wilson
put,
is
go,
Andrew,
go,
Andrew,
go.
Andrew,
Listen,
let me
bro,
move it
bro,
on.
I'm done
Your
anyway.
wife
Let
gets
Brian, I'm
drugged
done
by
anyway. Yeah,
everything on planet Earth,
listen,
you
go put
fucking
your fake
fuck.
kids to sleep, yeah?
Weren't you
God
about
night,
to-
God
weren't
bless.
you about to rage quit? Weren't you about to show me? Yeah, get the out of here. That's right. Run away, cuck.
I feel bad for him.
Yeah,
Like they really
that-
went on him the whole thing, and he's been nothing but nice for him.
No,
I
it's
guess
okay,
we
it's
shouldn't
okay,
have
it's
been
okay, it's
such
okay,
a
it's okay, it's
fuck.
okay.
Bye, guys. Subscribe to my fans. Love you all.
All right, thanks for coming.
Gral Zulu donated $69. Get this
S
line
Isabella,
and
two S.
It's
Bye.
okay.
jerk in a corner while your wife screams another man's name.
All right, thank you, man. Thank you. All right, see you guys. See you guys.
I'm so sorry.
They were fun.
Oh gosh, Andrew, what are you doing to me, Andrew? You make it.
Brian STR8.
She says because you own property and have a job makes you a feminist.
Yes. That's
But that does not
Why
make
would
you a feminist.
why would property ownership
I
be a
believe in
rejection of
I believe in
patriarchy?
gender roles. I believe that there are roles for men and I believe that there are roles for women.
Okay.
That's traditional.
Yeah, so why would property ownership of women be a rejection of patriarchy?
I mean, from my understanding, women weren't able to own property, but I could be
Well, your understanding is flawed. They were able to own property. They've
okay,
always
but they
been able to
couldn't
own
vote
property.
and all the other important stuff, so that's besides the point.
Agree to
I think-
I
disagree.
don't think it's beside the point because
Yeah, if
No,
you
literally.
okay, let's
By
just
the way,
clarify.
they
Do
were
you
always
think
able to
women
work.
should have the right
hang
to vote?
hang on, stop. Let me finish. They were always able to work, and they were always able to own property. They weren't always able to vote, but most men were not always able to
Most
vote.
women
Almost no
weren't
men, in
working,
fact,
though.
were ever able to vote.
But
They only
most-
got the vote a few years before women got the vote.
Most women were not working and did not own property. That would be an exception.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't.
They still
But
could.
Just because
but it
they
wasn't a normal
didn't,
thing.
right?
It wasn't something that every woman was capable of doing. Now it is. That's
It's not.
feminism.
It wasn't a thing every man was capable of doing.
Okay, but you're not arguing that that's a bad thing. You're arguing that women being able to vote and such
Split.
is.
Yeah, but you just said that women, because not all women could own property because they didn't have the resources or capability to do so,
Wrong.
that meant it was a rejection of patriarchy. That's insane. That doesn't even logically track. Can you explain why that would logically track, or why it is that if women work, that would be a rejection of patriarchy? It makes no sense to me.
I mean, what you consider to be patriarchy is that the woman stays at home and fulfills her traditional gender role.
No,
she-
I didn't
she-
say anything about that. All patriarchy means is from the father. That's it.
From the
It just means
father.
that women and men have a different role in society, and that
And
men
what are
are in
those
the top
roles?
echelons of that society, all the way down to the household.
Can I make a statement? The average.
Why could women not work under such a system? I don't understand. Can you explain that to me?
I mean, most of them weren't working.
Yeah, but most of them not working doesn't mean that most of them couldn't work.
I don't think most places at the time, if most men were in the workforce and a woman walked in and was like, "Hey, can you hire me? I'll do whatever." Like, I don't think they would have equal
Oh, but they
opportunity
did.
as a
They did the
man.
same shit then that they do now. They were teachers and they worked as secretaries.
They were
and
nurses.
They worked in the service industry and they worked as nurses. They did all the same shit that they do right now. In fact, they were sought after to do those jobs. In fact, even in the midst of the mostest patriarchy that we had, they were still sought after.
Can I
But
make
it
a
wasn't
statement?
common, and women still weren't able to vote.
Yeah, but
Hold on,
most men weren't
wait,
able to vote.
Stop. Allow them to have a back and forth, please.
Right.
Andrew, make your point, then you respond.
Yeah, most men weren't able to vote. So what's your point? Suffrage
mean
was
when you
never
say most men
universal.
weren't
Hang
able
on,
to
stop spurging before I even get the point out. Suffrage was not universal for men or women. It was not universal. We did not have a universal suffrage in the United States until way later in its history. Do you understand that?
But I still think that everybody should have the ability to
That's
vote.
nice, but that really has nothing to do with feminism, right? So
does.
one
First wave
move of feminism
feminism.
is only for the vote, but when you say women couldn't vote, neither could most men.
Couldn't
I
vote.
mean, when you say most men, what do you mean by that?
Almost no men could vote.
Which men couldn't vote?
Hold on, I actually have something on
You
this really
have-
quickly. So, only 50 years, I just have this written down. It was only a 50-year period of time between the ratification of the 15th Amendment, which gave all men the right to vote in 1870, and the 19th Amendment, women's vote, in 1920. So there's only 50 years in America that all men could vote, that women could not.
Okay, I just think women should have the right to vote.
Well, then why did they all vote it down? When they were presented with the
Shit, our
option of
votes don't
voting for the
matter
right to
anyway.
vote.
100%.
When they were presented with the option of actually being able to vote for the right to vote, they
Everything's
voted
rigged.
against it. And so that's why he ended up with a amendment instead, because they went through the court
Most
system
women
instead
voted
for it,
against it.
because women didn't want the right to vote.
No, they wanted
needed-
the right to vote. They didn't want to be drafted. There's a difference.
No, they didn't want the right to vote.
Yes, they
In
did.
fact,
They
the
just didn't want it to be
anti-suffrage-
connected to the
Hang on.
draft.
How many women do you think wanted the right to vote?
I think
How many?
most of them didn't want to be drafted, and the right to vote was
So
connected to the draft.
you think that they should just be able to vote without having the responsibility of the draft?
Yeah, I don't think fighting in a war determines whether you're eligible or not to participate in democracy.
That's how men
Oh,
got
great.
the vote.
So then,
I
just
don't
to
think
get
they
this
should
right,
have had the vote before.
you want men to go fight your wars while you vote that they do.
Women are fighting
Great.
in wars too. They just fight in the back line and they're on the
And they're
intelligence.
They're
Yeah,
volunteer.
that's nice that that Chef Boyar woman is making the food for the men and signing their paychecks, but they're not in the front lines getting killed, are they? So it's
Well, I
very
mean,
nice.
unless they're
It sure is
stronger
nice
than
that you want the right to vote, that to send men to wars that you yourself don't have to fight.
So, to clarify, do you think that women should have the right to vote or not?
No.
No.
Okay. Do you guys
But I
agree
also-
with this?
I do agree with him. Can I say why I agree, though?
I'm
Can I
glad
say
we
why I
both
Let me
agree?
finish. Let me finish the point. I always answer directly.
I
but
disagree.
You still have to answer to the caveat. No, but I also don't think most people should have the right to
Agree.
vote.
I disagree with you, but that's
Can
okay.
I can
We
I say
agree to
why I
disagree.
agree with Andrew though? Because most women and some of these new up and coming men that are voting, they vote on emotion and they just watch the news
That's
and
not an
vote for who
answer.
they're told to vote
can't-
for.
You can't just be like, I don't like who you're voting for, therefore you can't
It's
have the
not
right to vote.
about.
That's
it's
ridiculous.
Not, it's
A
not, you
why
won't
not?
even let me
Why
finish.
can't we do that? Yeah,
You
why
won't
can't
let
we
me
do that?
finish.
A democracy is literally about letting everybody.
We don't have a democracy.
No, we
live
don't
in
have
a
democracy
republic,
anymore.
Not
It's
a
a
democracy.
We were found on a republic. And if you sit there and say that everybody should have the right to vote when they're blindly voting because of their famous people are telling them how to vote and they're not actually educating themselves on the facts, I don't think I don't think everybody should have the right to
What
vote.
if I don't think you're educating yourself on the facts? And I
No
think
matter
you're
who
misled?
wins for the votes, y'all still gonna be mad. So
It's like,
No,
for
literally.
instance, Kanye West. It's like, for instance, Kanye West was on the ballot. And the majority of the 18, 19, and 20-year-old voted for Kanye West because who he was. I do not think that everybody should have the right to vote because they don't vote on fact. They vote on emotion.
A lot of people, even in their 40s and 50s and 60s, vote for whatever headlines are telling them and rage baiting them. This is how lefties are. This is how conservatives are. This is how liberals are. And then they just interpret that and vote accordingly.
But this is coming from someone that's from Canada and has been ruled.
I'm
that's
from
great.
America.
Sounds like they
I
shouldn't
was
be
born in
voting.
the States
Great
and I
point.
grew up in New York. Okay, I moved to Canada 4 years ago. Relax.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Wait, you
Yeah,
moved
so I
to
mean,
Ca-
it sounds like if you think that those old people also are voting irresponsibly, that we probably shouldn't let them vote. That seems pretty stupid, right?
I think if you live in a country, you should be able to vote in it. That's
Why?
it. Because
Based on
that's how
what?
democracy works. It's very simple. If I live in a country, I should be able to have
Monarchies
a say in how
work.
it
What's your
works.
point?
Here's a democracy question. So
Hang on. Let me finish with it real quick. Monarchies work. So what's your point? Just saying, because it works. Well, all sorts of systems of government
No,
work.
I'm saying it's only fair.
Oppressive governments work. Non-oppressive governments work. All sorts of
I would
governments
argue
work.
that oppressive governments don't work, but we can agree to disagree on
Yes, they do work. Wait, I'm sorry.
They're not
How do
working
they
in
not
benefit
work?
for the people. I think a goal of the government is to actually benefit the people. So if a government
I'm
is
sorry,
oppressive, I don't think it's working.
in order to benefit
wait,
the
let me get this.
people,
Let me get this right. I'm sorry.
That's the
You
ultimate
think
goal.
that the
Does it
government's
always do that?
job?
No.
can I just say this? In order
You think
to
that the
benefit,
government? No, you can't. Let us finish our argument here. Calm down, lady. So, you're saying that governments themselves are supposed to be there on behalf of the people,
Yes,
correct?
that's what they're supposed
you
to
think?
do. I don't think they always.
Can
end
you
up doing
explain
that.
why a monarchy is not?
Because a monarchy usually doesn't end up like that. When you have one person with power, they usually end up looking out for themselves and not caring about everybody else.
It's not one person with power.
Okay.
They have nobles, they have franklins, they have land stewards, they had knights, they had all sorts of different things which were in the upper aristocratic class.
What is your
which,
point
by the
here?
way, hang on, let me finish, lady. It's exactly what you got right now, an aristocratic class, and then you have an underclass. Do you agree or disagree?
That I agree with.
Yeah, so then what's your point?
My point is that everybody should have the right to vote. If you live in a country,
Why?
you should be able to have a say in how it works and how it runs.
Why?
It's really-
Why should
because
you?
you
just
live
keep
in the
asserting
country.
it. You keep
live
asserting
in
it,
the
but you're not giving an
country.
argument. You just say
If
because I
you-
want it.
It's literally. Thank you.
wait,
You
can I
live
ask-
in the country. You should be able.
Can I
to have
ask a
say.
question?
So what? That's not a should claim.
I
Saying
think
I
it
should be
is.
able to
If
do
you
this
live in a
because I
country,
should.
you
All
should
you're
have a
saying is
say.
this. Hang on. All you're saying is this. I should be able to do this because I should be able to do this because I should be able to do this.
_69 donated $69. Both men and women should have the right to vote. Before being allowed to vote, one should at least pass a civic test.
Well, then it wouldn't be a right. So anyway, so back to this.
Wait, hold on,
just-
Andrew. There's one more coming in. I just want to preempt
Okay.
it, just so you don't get interrupted again. I
Yeah,
just
yeah, no
didn't
problem.
let it come in.
Honor the Gods donated $100. Girl in black, feel shame for your past, regret it, then rise above it. Your value is higher than the 2 Delianus W50 plus body counter mentality is on the rig.
Thank you.
Thank you, honor the gods. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Go ahead, Andrew.
So anyway, all these forms of government work fine. I don't know why you keep on saying they didn't work. Of course they worked. I mean, we
Okay,
can
no,
point to
because
history
most of
and
the
some.
people
Hang
didn't
on,
have
let
a
me finish before you start spurging,
Sorry.
and then I'll let you talk. Just calm down. Okay, just so you know, when I'm talking and you're talking, I can't hear you, and I want to hear your argument. Okay, so going back to this, of course, those governments worked. They worked fine. You can say that they didn't work as well. That could be an argument. This type of thing. But you're still not answering the question of should. Why should they, other than you just want them to?
I genuinely believe that a democracy is only actually a democracy if the people who are citizens of that state have a right to vote in how it runs. That's it.
Yeah, but that doesn't give us a reason why it should be a
What are you
democracy
looking
or
for?
why
I don't
people
understand.
should.
Because to me, that is a reason.
Can I
Are you
ask
gonna-
a question?
Okay, but that's not a justified reason. You're just saying they should because they should because they should.
Because you live in the country. You should have a say if you live in the country. That's
Why?
it. Because you're not a free citizen if you don't have a say in how it runs. I think
Why? Why would you not be free if you didn't have a say in how things ran?
Because if-
you don't have a say in how almost anything on planet Earth is run,
As an
including in your
individual, yeah,
nation.
you're right.
Do you consider yourself free because you can vote?
No, as an
Into the mic.
As an individual, no, I don't. Like, I don't think my individual impact is going to do anything unless I'm extremely rich with like billions of dollars. But I'm
what
not
the hell
there.
are you talking about?
As a whole, people collectively, right? If no woman can vote, then women don't have a say at all. But if one
You would
woman
still
can vote,
have,
it still
even
wouldn't
if you
make a
took
difference.
Suffrage. Hang on. Even if you took suffrage and you were to limit suffrage, you would still have collective voting. It's just that not every fucking idiot could vote. What the hell would be wrong with that?
can't
Why
make
do you
it-
want
it's
every
not-
moron? Hang on. Why do you want every moron on earth to be able to vote? That's
I'm
the
not saying
stupidest thing I've ever
every
heard.
person should vote. I'm not saying if you're 15, you're 12, you're 11, you should vote. Okay, I do think
Why?
that there should be.
Yeah,
a
but how
limit.
come?
Because at some point you're just too young to understand the dynamics.
Yeah. Okay, so kids are dumb?
No, not. I mean, sure.
Okay, that's hilarious, honestly.
Well, I mean, isn't that what you're saying? You don't
No, I'm
want
just
a
saying they're
13-year-old to
learning.
vote because they're fucking dumb,
I think
right?
you're being dishonest right now. I think it's
I
pretty
think I'm being the
obvious.
most
Yes, I
honest
think
out of
so.
everybody in this
I think
panel.
It's pretty obvious why you wouldn't want a 16-year-old
Again,
voting.
what's the obvious? Okay, so why?
Because what a 16-year-old is busy in high school, like studying for their tests, hanging out with their friends. They don't care
Oh,
about
yeah,
politics.
they're way more busy than adults who are working 60 hours a week.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah, they're so busy.
Most
Oh, they're
adults
just too
aren't
busy.
voting. The reality is like a third of Americans are voting.
Yeah, but so what? The point is that they all can, and 15-year-olds
think that's
can't.
good.
Why shouldn't 15-year-olds be able to vote then?
Come on.
Because they don't
use
have the
your
knowledge.
common sense.
That's not an argument.
Literally,
That's
I
infidelity.
gave it
Don't
to
care
you
about
already. Why are you
infidelity.
asking
Make
me
an
to
argument.
repeat myself 17 times? I told you, they're too young, they're in high school, they're focused on other things, they don't care about politics. And even if they wanted to, they don't understand the dynamics of it. If you want to
So
argue
you're
that
saying-
18
then
is
you're
still
saying-
too young and you think 25 should be the limit of
Perfect.
voting, maybe we could have a conversation there. But I don't think that saying women shouldn't vote is a good solution. I think that's ridiculous.
So wait a
Agree to
second. So
disagree.
at 17 years and 11 months, you're too stupid to vote. At 18 years old, you're smart enough now to vote,
Jesus
correct?
Christ.
That's what I was saying. If you want to have an argument about when the proper age to vote is, we could have that argument, but I don't
Yeah,
think
but the
saying...
point of the argument is the reason you think that young people shouldn't be able to vote is because they're too dumb. Not because they're wrapped up with high school, which takes 6 hours a day, and where their parents are working 10
I
to
think
12
it's
hours a
both.
day,
Like,
and they're still
that's-
out there voting.
I think it's plenty
It's
of-
clearly not because they're in fucking high school, it's because you think they're dumb.
I think it's both. I think they're both
you don't gotta
stupid
let
and they're
them
also
win.
focused on their own.
Right, so
world.
why should we let stupid people vote? Tell me.
The democracy functions in such a way that even people you disagree with have the right to vote. It doesn't matter if you think they're really, really,
You're just
really
asserting
stupid.
what is, not what ought
I
to
am
be.
telling
Why
you
should
what-
we let the stupid people vote?
The
Why should we
reason-
let them vote?
Literally, like, I don't you're asking me the same questions over and over, and
Can
I'm
I
giving you the
ask
Yeah,
same
'cause you won't
answer.
answer.
Brian, go
I
ahead.
am answering, you
I'll
just don't
explain.
like my
Hang on, I'll break it
answer.
down. I'll break it down super simple.
Can I just ask one question?
There's, hang on, there's is and there's ought. What is true is not what
Well,
I'm
right
asking
now
you.
what is true is that
Stop-
everyone
Stop
has-
talking so I can finish this. That way we don't go in a circle. What is true is not what ought be true. So when you just keep on giving me the descriptor of, but that's how democracies work, though, I don't give a shit.
Well, how it
they
is right
work. I'm
now.
asking you why we ought to have, what is the justification for why every idiot should vote? What is it?
I'm sorry. Are you basically saying that you think everybody you disagree with shouldn't have the right to vote? I just want to clarify.
No, he's
No,
just
that's
saying
not what I
stupid
said.
people shouldn't
Okay,
vote.
so if you think a 30-year-old is really dumb, should they have the right to vote or no?
Yeah, I don't think dumb people should vote. No.
I agree.
Okay, well, I disagree.
Okay,
Yeah,
I disagree.
but that's what I'm asking. So that's what I'm asking. Why ought dumb people be able to vote? Now,
Because we
without
live in a
telling me,
democracy.
hang on, without telling me, because that is the way it works, because I don't give a shit about that. I'm asking about ought.
I
Why
didn't
ought
say
it
that
work
once.
that way?
Every single time I've answered your question, I told you because they live in the country and they should therefore have a right to have some sort of say in how it functions.
asking
even if
why.
It's minimal.
Yeah, but that's circular. So let me explain how that's circular. When I say why should they, you say because they should. And I say why, you say because they live here. I say why is living here? Hang on. I say why, if they're living here, does that mean they should have the right to vote? And you say because they live here. And I say, yeah, but why should that entitle them to voting? You say because it does.
That's simple. Because they live here. Even if you disagree with them, you think they're really stupid. Even if you think they're just following Taylor Swift or Kanye West or whatever it is. I don't care how much of a sheep you think they are. A democracy means even the people you disagree with have the right to vote.
Why does a
GMD Jim donated $69. We do not live in a democracy. Stop
Yeah, we
saying
don't.
that.
We already
A
said it.
democracy is mob rules. We live in a republic.
A Republican
Just because
democracy.
you breathe air does not mean you shoe.
Oh, really? We were founded as a republic. Could everybody vote?
No. When we were founded as a republic, not everybody could vote.
When we were founded as a republic, could everyone vote or not, lady?
No.
No. Okay, wait. I thought that a republic was a democracy.
I
and
said
in
a
democracy, everyone
Republican
can vote.
democracy. I never said Republican. I never said a Republican is a democracy. I said
Right.
we live
So then
in
we
a
don't live in
Republican
a democracy, do we?
We live in one currently, yes.
No,
because
we live in a
Republic of the
republic,
United
and there have been
States, not the
democratic voting rights
democracy
which
of
have
the
been
United
extended.
States.
These are two different concepts.
But currently, we live in a democratic republic.
We live in a republic
Republican
where democratic measures are used, but you can limit suffrage. There's nothing saying that you can't.
Yeah, but I think the way you want to limit
My question
is
is, why
extreme.
shouldn't we do that? That's my question. Why shouldn't we? You just say, because we live here.
I think stupid
okay,
people-
great. Well, I live here and I don't want that, so I guess it's fine, right? We won't do it.
If you share a house with somebody, right, and you have a whole family, and somebody wants to have a say in what goes on in their room, right?
Yeah.
Should they not be able to because they're stupid? You've decided you actually don't like them?
Yeah, if they're stupid and they live in my house, I don't want them to have a say in what
No,
goes
you
on
all
in their
share the
room.
house. It's
They're
not
too
yours.
dumb.
You share the house. Your roommates.
Yeah.
They're not your children. You share the house. So now everybody's paying equally.
Yeah, but what if, so inside of the house, the decisions they make inside of the house in their room, like, I don't know, leaving rotten food out and stuff like that because they're fucking stupid, affects me, right?
Sure.
Yeah, so then I would have every business going in and saying, hey, why don't you clean up that fucking shit that's everywhere that
Sure, but you're
affects
not
me?"
gonna control
And they
the
go,
whole
oh,
world.
what do you mean? I'm dumb. I'm just dumb. I can't help. I'm stupid.
Okay, but should he still not have a say in what goes on in the house or in his own room?
No, because he's creating bugs.
Well, see, it seems that the responsible thing would be to have the house run by a person who can run the house, not a person who'd leave rotten
You're all
food out because they're
sharing
stupid, right?
You're all sharing it. You guys are like living in a 4-bedroom apartment. Everybody's splitting
Yeah,
the
but
rent.
why does that mean that it's equal? Because we're
Why
all sharing
he's
it.
paying for his portion? Why should he pay? If you don't want them to vote, then don't charge them taxes.
Why would you not charge them taxes?
Because they can't vote. They can't have a say in how you're using the taxes. Why should you get to take money from them and be like, but you actually can't tell us how we're going to use it, though?
Well, wait a second. I'm super confused. So, do you think you have a say in where your taxes go right
No,
now?
I don't think you have a say, but when you vote, you do
Well,
have
then
at
what
least
the
a little
fuck
bit of
are
an
you
impact.
talking about? I'm sorry, does the IRS send you a little
I am
ledger and
not
say,
arguing.
here's where your
I'm not
taxes
arguing
went?
that
Hang
the
on,
US is
IRS goes,
perfect.
here's where your taxes went. Your taxes went to social services and the military and this and that. Not, do they send you a letter saying, oh, your taxes went to this black ops that you hate?
I am
this
not arguing.
Your taxes went to this. Your taxes, the IRS doesn't send you a ledger telling you where your taxes go.
Killer of Cereal donated $69. Wanna get some coffee? Sure, where from? Get some coffee. Yeah, sure. Sure? Yeah, I'd like some coffee. Okay, let's go to get some coffee. Where from?
If you guys can,
And by the way, let me
Conversation
just
feels
finish it
like. I
off this way. Even if I grant your argument and tell you, okay, fine, don't charge them taxes, and then they don't vote. Fair enough. Just so you know, most people in the United States, are not a net positive on the tax base. So therefore, most people in the United States should not vote by your logic. Is that correct?
What do you mean? Most people in the States are paying
You
taxes.
just got done saying, then don't charge them taxes. I'm telling you that most people don't pay taxes. Most people don't pay taxes.
Are they
Most
like
don't.
defrauding? What do you mean when you say
No, they're not
paying taxes?
defrauding.
Like
they
their
take
children?
more out of the system than they put into the system.
Oh, but okay, but they're still paying taxes.
No. They're receiving taxes.
I don't, like, can you give me an example of what
So
you
if I say to you, here's $100, now give me $200, are you saying that you've paid me $100?
No, but you're still paying.
No, that's what happens with the tax
Minus
system.
underscore
Most people are not
69
paying in.
donated
They're just getting out.
$69. Just because someone wants something doesn't
I
give
gotta
them
move
any
it
right
on
to have
after
it.
this chat.
That is why not everyone should be allowed to vote.
But just so you know, just real quick, I
Final
just
thing.
would like this concession, that if most people are not paying taxes by this logic, most people should not be able to vote, right?
Yeah, but they're paying taxes. You're just considering them not paying taxes because it's going negative. But I think that's a problem of the government more so than the individual. So I think if the individual is paying the tax, they should be able to have the right to vote.
Even if they get more back than what they
because
pay
that's
in.
a government issue. That's not really an
Of course.
individual
So then
problem.
they pay no taxes and they actually receive tax dollars, but they still deserve
If
to
they're
be able
not
to
paying
vote.
taxes,
Even though
then
they're now
no.
not only are they not paying taxes, they're just getting tax money.
If they're not paying taxes, then probably not. If they are, then yeah. It doesn't matter if the government's going negative on the fact that they're paying taxes. Again, that's something the government should fix.
No. I'm saying the government's giving more benefits to the individual than the individual's giving to the government. Meaning they're actually a net drain on the tax
they're
system.
getting state
They're not paying anything in. They're getting out, in fact.
Are you talking about welfare?
Not just social welfare. That's not just it, but people who live under the property threshold and the poverty threshold, and people who are super wealthy also pay no tax.
I mean, well, they should. Everybody should be paying
but they
taxes.
don't, so they shouldn't be able to vote.
I guess if you're
right?
defrauding the government, then you shouldn't really have the right to vote.
I got to move things on. Got to move things on. I got to move things on.
Concession. All right.
But if you're going to say men prefer women who don't know what they're doing, I'm just saying, you can look online and see men talk about this all the time.
So let's dive into this real quick then. Let's find out, and we'll test your logic and see if that's true. You're requesting empirical data as the burden of evidence for whether or not this can be demonstrated to you, which I think is fair. But what if we could logically demonstrate it for you? That's also another way in which a thing can be demonstrated to a person that does not require empiricism, correct?
It depends on the topic. You can't I don't think you can apply that to any argument stance.
Well,
if you're going to speak on behalf of other men, it needs to be studied. Their
empiricism itself is just a foundational ethos of I believe X. So, you would have to justify why we should even use empiricism. But that aside,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, hang on, you would. But I'm just going to grant that maybe we could, as long as you'll grant that I could also logically demonstrate something to you as well. Because you'd have to logically demonstrate why we should use empirical data. I'm just going to grant that we should. But if I can logically demonstrate for you, for instance, that most of the world is religious. Most of the world is religious, not some. And most of the religions of the world have some kind of virtue ethic when it comes to sex. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, then there must be some preference for promiscuity
Does that mean they uphold
being
it,
bad
though?
from
Does
the
that mean that they
position of
uphold
both
it?
men and women.
I mean, you could also argue that someone who is promiscuous is probably more fertile. You could really dive into that on all kinds of levels.
That does not contend with my argument that I just gave you at all.
Okay, but
so
that would be
most
to
of the world
assume
is
that
religious,
right, but that
and
would
most religions. Stop. Let me make the argument again,
Okay.
and then steelman the argument before you respond to it.
Okay.
The argument is, if most of the world is religious, most religions have a sexual ethic which is against promiscuity, which they do. Then it seems that people must have some preference against sexual promiscuity. That would be a sound conclusion. Can you steelman the argument first and then give me an argument counter to it?
I think what you're saying is valid, but I think that not everyone who's religious upholds religious values by far. By far.
There are outliers.
That's a non sequitur. What's the argument?
The argument is that until there's actual data saying what men prefer, then all of this is just hypothetical bullshit.
It can't be hypothetical. We have empirical data on religion.
When was
know
religion
empirically
formed?
that most of the world is religious.
Right.
We
When
know
was
that
religion
empirically.
formed? When was religion formed? You have to take into context society at the time that it was formed.
Why do we have to do that
we
for
don't,
when we're
because we
talking
don't live in
about
that
modernity?
climate anymore. We don't live in that climate anymore.
No. That's a genetic fallacy. What are you talking about? That's a fallacious form of argumentation.
People who
Why
created
would we
the
have to
religion-
go to when a religion was formed to make a determination that right this second, most of society is religious? In most societies of the world have some kind of religion they adhere to with sexual ethics which are against promiscuity. Therefore, there must be some preference against promiscuity, unless you can give me a counter argument to that.
I'm not saying that there's not a preference. I'm saying, and most of the people that would be in favor of women who are more experienced are not going to be religious to begin with. So you're adding all these variables.
That's not a counter
They're
argument.
kind of cucks, to be honest.
I mean, I don't
That's
disagree.
not a counter argument. What's the counter argument to it? Some people might not be religious. I know. I'm granting that. That's
right,
baked
but
in,
you're
right?
trying to
We're
add in a
saying
bunch
most
of
the
variables
world.
that may not be applicable in today's society. I don't know very many people who have said things along the lines of "I prefer a woman who's more experienced" that are religious.
Most of the people in the world do not live in Western societies. Most do not.
Okay,
They
so
live
are we
all-
having a world debate
so
or
we're
an
talking
American
about,
culture
We're talking
debate?
about Muslims, and we're talking about Jews, and we're talking about
Okay.
Christians, and we're talking about all sorts of different religions which exist. There's almost in all of them an ethic against sexual promiscuity. Almost all of them.
If we're talking about
There
the
must
whole
be
world, then
some
yeah, that's
preference
absolutely
then
fair.
against promiscuity, right?
Yeah, if we're talking worldwide, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, yeah.
So you.
Well, I mean, you don't think that human beings evolved? You don't think that men, the ontological nature of what is a man in a Muslim nation is different than the ontological nature of a man here, right? I mean, they're the same. They're both men.
I think
So why would they have a preference there?
Okay.
Distinct from a preference here. For all of us who are religious seem to have this preference, and most people are religious.
There's multiple factors that go into a person's decision making, and religion is not the only thing. There are social aspects, generational aspects, and are you arguing that what things are like in Egypt right now are similar to America? Are you saying the cultures?
No, there's going to
be
be a cultural. Of course, there's going to be cultural
exactly.
distinctions
So then-
between them,
so
but the
then the-
religions can be uniform even absent culture. So, for instance, Muslim religion in Africa could be exactly the same religion which is followed in the middle of Qatar, whatever, right?
Sure.
The point is yeah, we can even take into account these cultural considerations, but if most of the world is religious, and you agree that it is, and we can empirically demonstrate that, you empirically know that that's true, then I don't understand how I haven't given you a good logical demonstration.
Because we also know
it
that
seems
religion
that
is
most people
on
are
the-
against promiscuity.
There are less and less religious people as time goes on. Like we
Only
can't,
in the
we
West.
can't pretend. Okay, so I live in the West, so that's what I'm debating.
Yeah, but
I
so
already
what?
gave you the, if we're considering the whole world, then absolutely that's fair. But if
Yeah.
we're talking about American culture, I just don't think it's fair to say that most men want a woman who's a virgin or inexperienced.
Most people in the United States identify with a religion. Most.
Okay, well you would. I mean, if you
Yeah,
would,
you're
if you have
talking about
stats on
somewhere
that, then-
between 19 and 30% who self-ID as agnostic or atheist, and even those people will often identify as being culturally Christian. So the thing is that if that's true even here, the majority of people even here, and the immigrants which come into the country, come in usually with a religious background. South America, especially, they're Catholic. If they're coming in from the East, they're Muslim, or they're
But there's
Orthodox
many other
Christians, or
religions.
this
Okay,
kind of thing.
there's even Christian sects that allow polygamy, and then there's all
There's
the
very
different
few.
sects of paganism that don't
There's
give a
very
shit
few,
about
and the
things
West
like
does
that.
not allow polygamy. It's not only illegal; it's considered
Okay,
immoral.
okay,
And the
so
Christian polygamists are not allowed to be polygamous.
Okay, maybe not legally, but you want to act
No,
like
not
Mormons
even
don't
not
have
even
multiple.
spiritually.
Is it legal in Nevada?
No, it's not legal to be a polygamist in Nevada.
Okay.
Wait, so
There's
let me
other
ask you a
religions
question. Let me
at
ask
play,
you a question here. Do you think that men are thinking, I like her, but I would like her more had she fucked more men before me?
No, I don't think it's a matter of that. I just think sometimes guys want a woman who's more experienced, and unfortunately, they're not
No.
going to find that in a virgin.
Okay,
That doesn't
I would
mean that she
argue
had
the
to have fucked,
men,
like, 50
the men
people.
that want. First off, let's be real here. Most pussy is good pussy. It's really not all that hard. Sex isn't this complicated procedure, especially as a woman. For women to be good in bed, it really doesn't take much. So this idea that the more sexual partners you've had, that also, actually on that note, wouldn't you argue that a woman who's had one partner, but she's had sex with that partner 1,000 times, is going to be more sexually experienced than the woman who
I guess
slept
it would
with
depend on how
100
experimental he
men
is.
one time each?
There's
Who's
so
gonna
many.
be-
There's so many variables to this. How experimental is that one couple? If they're doing the same shit every time, then they're not really. She's not getting a lot of experience.
Okay,
the one of the kind of cheap shots that's often used by pure empiricists is this idea of a multifaceted variables making the thing so complex that we can't actually make any deductions from it or inductions from it. But the truth is that correlates, there's usually primary correlates, and then there's kind of non-primary correlates. We still can look at primary correlates here. when we're looking at data.
Yeah.
Right? You would agree that that's true. So
yes.
just kind of waving it off and saying, hey, there's tons and tons of variables. Nobody's going to dispute that there's tons of variables, but there's still going to be prime correlates that we can look at. Okay. And that's what Brian's kind of pointing to, is these prime correlates.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm not saying that it's not a lot of men who would prefer to be with a virgin or someone who has a lower body count. I'm just saying you can't put this broad generalization on everyone, because even on social media, you can read through hundreds of comments of men saying the opposite. So I'm just saying objectively, until there's like a recent study.
We're not saying that these men don't exist. But generally speaking, if we're having a we could talk about the dating habits of dwarfs.
I guess it would depend on the age
you want to
group
talk
that you're
about
talking
the
to.
specific dating habits of dwarves who live in Ecuador. We can talk about it if you want. But if we're speaking about just generalities here, we can arrive at some generalities. And generally speaking, men prefer sexual purity in women.
Maybe the men in the study.
What study?
I'm just telling you, among our age group,
I need not even look at a study to make this determination.
Everyone's going to have their own anecdotal experience.
Yes, of course.
And I'm telling you, in our age group,
there's a lot
there's a large portion of men who prefer women who are more experienced. So it's not as relevant to them.
Here, let's talk about something more simpler then. Do you think it's a majority of men that prefer women with a lot of sexual experience?
I mean, I don't know. That's the whole point, is that I don't know.
You don't know. Okay,
I wouldn't feel confident in saying yes.
So, just to be clear, if a high body count is proxy for promiscuity, do you think a man would prefer to date a woman who hasn't had sex in a year, or let's say date and sleep with? He'd prefer to sleep with a woman who hasn't had sex in a year, or a woman who f***ed a guy an hour ago?
Well, yeah, for sure.
Okay. What about a day ago?
I mean, some men don't give a but for the most part, yeah, I think
you don't think men have
a
disgust response to a woman who's recently f***ed another guy?
This is what I can tell you from having been a dancer when I was younger.
Hold on, let me ask you a question. Didn't earlier you said that you wouldn't date a bi guy?
Yes.
Why?
For multiple reasons.
Because he recently had sex with another man, right?
Well, that was y'all's topic, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, and again, my value system is very similar.
But do you have like a kind of a, what was your response to your refusal to dating a bisexual man? Was it a disgust response? There's not a disgust. No, didn't you say like?
I want someone who's attracted to me and what I am.
Who was the one who said it would be gross because he just, maybe it was you. I forgot.
It wasn't me.
It was you? Okay. All right. But you wouldn't.
But I understand that perspective, yeah.
Right. So
I absolutely validate that. I'm just telling you, like, from my experience, having done OnlyFans when I was younger, being a dancer when I was younger, most men don't care as much as y'all would like to pretend.
No, not most men.
I've never had a
man ask. Where's your study
never.
for that?
I said it was anecdotal experience.
Well then I'm just going to anecdotally dismiss it.
And as I was trying to get at the point earlier, is that men probably have a preference for attractive women that happen to not be virgins. Now,
what?
She's saying it alluding to the fact that a lot of attractive women are not going to be virgins.
Yeah.
That's the simplest way to say it. I mean, you can give me your definition, but this guy told me that a husband.
Do you have like a ministry?
I do.
Okay. And
oh no.
Yeah. Andrew, I'll let you come in on this in just a moment. And so with your ministry, are you preaching to both men and women? Or?
I mean, I'm on YouTube, so I say sis a lot, though. I think naturally I just geared towards women, but I get the whole women shouldn't be leaders and all that. And here's the thing: naturally, I don't. When a woman is on stage, like as a pastor, I'm not against it. I know there's two different schools of thought when it comes to that. Biblically, like I get that, but I believe that women still have a part in the church.
Sure. Well, Andrew, I'm not particularly religious, but, doing my own research, even as somebody who's not religious, my understanding of Christianity is that among all denominations, even Protestant, non-denominational, that is a heresy.
That's incorrect.
Heresy, yes, that's correct.
It's incorrect.
Some denominations have split off, and
no,
they
I
have
think
different
even
doctrines.
Protestant, it's
Well,
a
but I'm
heresy.
saying, like, for example, the United, any church that says United, typically they have a more liberal view of things. And so they have, even Saddleback Church is technically part of the Southern Baptist Convention, and they now have allowed, Rick Warren stepped down and...
Wait, do you have a ministry too?
Don't they all?
Clarify what you mean by that. Clarify what you mean by that.
Well,
Well,
we
I
were
don't-
called to be ministers.
Yeah, I mean,
the Great Commission
I
is
guess
to
you could
preach,
say
to
that-
teach,
yes.
to heal, and to cast out demons.
Yes,
and
I do have, so yes, I do consider my
I'm
life a
really
ministry.
curious though. Why do you feel so like let down? Isn't that the Great Commission? We're all disciples, right?
No, it's not.
So only
I
men
mean,
are disciples?
No, that's not what I said. Chill out, and I'll explain it to you. When you get to the original apostles who became bishops in Christ Church, were any of them female?
Can I say something? Because I
Wait,
actually
let her
did study
answer.
this.
Let her
I didn't hear you. What?
The original apostles who became bishops, were any of them female?
No,
Why not?
I'm not sure.
It's actually not safe.
Nor
It
am
was
I
a
saying
safety
that
thing.
I need to be a preacher or I need to be a pastor. I'm just a witness. I am.
Yeah, but what did
disciple
Paul
creating
say? What
disciples.
did Paul say about women leading in the church? What did Paul say?
He said,
about
"Don't do
us
it."
being quiet. Is that what you're
He
talking
said
about?
no. He said specifically in multiple places that women were not allowed to have leadership positions in the church. Now, when you're talking about a woman's part in the church, I don't disagree. I think that women do have a very important role in the church. It's just not as clergy, and it's never been as clergy.
I'm not against that. Like, I'm not here wanting to be a pastor. I hold Bible study. That's because there's
And it was really supposed to be a protective measure.
Let her finish.
And I don't create the curriculum. I go based off of a pastor's curriculum, a church curriculum that's handed and passed down to us. And so it's not, to me, I'm really just holding space with as a disciple, as a witness with other disciples that are looking to get in the Word of God, to talk about God. But I don't need to be on stage doing altar calls at a church.
Yeah, so a priest is an embodiment of Christ on earth, and Christ embodied as a male.
You do have a
why.
warm sense.
That's why. I mean,
about
that's
you.
so women cannot be the embodiment of Christ. That would be men only. That is the
We are
Christian
part
way.
of
That's not actually what the doctrine was ever even about. But just
How do you know?
FYI, because I studied all of this.
You did, yeah. So
Yeah.
what was the first synod?
The
when
whole
they discussed
principle.
this, tell me what it's called.
The whole principle of women not
No,
speaking
that's
in
not my
church
question.
had nothing to do with the fact that women didn't embody fully Christ or God. It was a protective measure because men like you are assholes, and it's a protective
Well,
measure
hold
so
on.
that
Let's
men
not-
would speak in public. I'm just saying, I mean, you don't have to take it personally.
Yeah,
it is
but,
what it
okay,
is.
just avoid ad hominem attacks.
Okay,
please.
so
I don't care.
because
She can
we
use it.
live in a
Doesn't hurt my feelings.
patriarchal society and the Bible was written in a patriarchal society to protect women, it's a protective measure. Men don't listen to women. It's much better if the woman goes to her own partner, her own husband, her own brother, who's the minister, and gives the message to him of what's on her heart. And he filters it through his man speak, whatever you want to say, and he goes and presents it before the men. That way he takes the flack on himself for it, so she doesn't have to deal with that emotionally. It's a protective measure. Women are very sensitive emotionally. We were not made to handle all these criticisms coming at us. That was supposed to be the setup. It was never supposed to be we're not equal to, we're not worthy, we don't have
seconds.
important things to
10
say. It
seconds.
wasn't supposed to be that way. The patriarchy got
Okay.
convoluted over time.
So I'm going to try this again. I'll just ask you the same question. Maybe you can answer it. Did Jesus Christ embody as a man or a woman?
Jesus Christ?
Yeah.
He embodied as a man and came to tell us that all of us have the same
Okay, so he
power
embodied.
as
He
him.
embodied.
And
he
I'm
embodied as
embodying Christ consciousness now as a woman.
How come he didn't embody as a woman?
Because he just answered that particular call and he happened to have a born to him. I have a and I have the
see.
same
He
call.
just happened. He could have been either. He just happened the God just happened to
I
only
believe
pick the male
because of
form.
the nature
there was
of
no
the
actual
time.
messaging behind that.
It was
there was
very
no reason
dangerous for
that. He
women
just-
to
he
live
just
back
wanted
then.
to.
It was
Okay,
very
I have a
dangerous for
question.
women to live back then.
I have a
It wouldn't
question.
have
Go
worked.
ahead.
Yeah.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. Well, hang on.
Wait,
I just want to make
Andrew,
sure that we're
respond
clear
then.
on this. Very quickly, you think that Christ embodied as a man just because it was fun? It was funsies for him?
No, because it was the safest way for a
The guy
person
who
with that
got
gifting.
crucified, it was the safest way.
It
to
was
get
because if he was a woman,
$200.
if he was a woman, he
Round
wouldn't have made
two,
it past
canteen
12.
Answer 2 plus 2, please shut the up.
This is wild. I've never heard any. I mean, this is. You don't even have a grounding epistemology for this. So, what is your actual epistemology for church doctrine?
Who are you,
You don't even
to
know
ask?
you don't even know what I just said. Like I don't. You don't even know what I just said.
Do
What
you
is your
know?
epistemology
Do you know
for
what
church doctrine?
Do you know what Jesus came to promote?
Okay, let's
Oh,
stop.
I
because we're
can't
gonna
wait
start.
to hear what he came. What did he come to promote?
I asked you. What do you believe Jesus came here
Christ
to promote?
came to give us a church. He said so himself.
Christ
He
said
came to give us a
the
church,
body
yes.
is the church. The body. The body is
I'm
the
sorry,
church.
what now?
The body. The
body
body
what?
is
Body,
the
body,
church.
body, body.
So therefore, this is the church.
You're making a word concept fallacy because you don't have any grounding epistemology. So you don't really understand what you're talking about. You've heard the term that we make up the body of
Let
the
me
church.
ask you
But
something.
a marriage, for instance, is a representation of Christ being the head of that church and you being the body of the church. That's why the man
Yes.
is in the leadership role inside of that union. So if that's the case, then he must have embodied as a man for a reason. So what is your grounding epistemology?
A better
let's start with
question
this.
would
Do you
be.
even know what epistemology means? Can you just start with that? Can you tell me what that means?
I will answer your questions when you answer this question.
Just answer. What does epistemology mean?
I'm not answering your question.
You
if
don't
you're
know
not
what it
answering mine.
means.
I
You
had
don't
a
even know
question
what
for you.
you have no idea what it even
I
means.
need
do
to
you?
understand the frame of mind that you're in, so I have to ask you some clarifying questions.
The word
Do you
is the
agree?
word.
Yeah, if you don't know what epistemology means, it's not a shot against you. I'll tell you what it means. You just need to be honest and say, Andrew, I don't know what it means, and I'll just tell
You
you.
just need to be honest and say, I don't want to answer your question, Desiree, because
I'm
it
happy
might
to
bring
answer
up
every
something that
question
I don't
you
want to
have.
deal
I've been
with.
sitting here answering them.
So can I ask
Do
you
you
a question?
know? Yeah. Do you? But first, answer. Do you
Just
know
say
what
no so we
epistemology
can move
means or
No,
not?
no, I'm not answering unless you're answering
Wait,
my question.
Andrew, just here. Ask your question.
This is just
Hold on.
wild. Okay.
Ask
fine.
your question, then Andrew gets to ask his. He'll answer yours. You'll answer his. Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Do you have some sort of problem with seeing yourself as the current embodiment of God?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the problem?
Well, it depends on how you mean embodiment. That's why I'm asking.
So,
about
for example, you
epistemology,
said
but
you're in a marriage,
Yeah. So the example is, I would say that a priest would be an embodiment, as in.
So,
the
but you told me,
representation-
you
I'm
said
trying to answer
yourself.
your question.
Let him
Trying
finish.
to answer
Let
your
him
question.
finish.
So I would see a priest as a representation or an embodiment, I think, in the context you're using it. That's what I would see as an embodiment. Hang on, let me finish the answer. That's what I would see as an embodiment. Now, I just answered your question specifically. Can you tell me what epistemology means?
$200.
We'll get
She
right
has
to
to
it.
figure out your frame of mind, Andrew, so she can figure out how much to charge you
True,
in order
true.
to answer your
Totally
question.
true. Totally
Yeah,
true.
now I just answered your question. Can you tell me what epistemology means?
Epistemology is the study of the epistles. That's the simplest way to say it. I mean, you can
Wait,
give me
he's
your
walking
definition,
away.
but this guy told me that a
keep it.
husband and wife is supposed to be the representation of God and the church. He said he's a husband. I asked him if he sees himself as the embodiment of God, and he said no. That doesn't make any sense.
Wait, what is the epistles?
The epistles are the apostles. Are you talking about the
No,
apostles?
what can you? You use the word epistles. What are the epistles?
He said, what is epistemology?
Yeah, no. What are the epistles? You said you
The
used the word
apostles.
epistles.
Right? Are you talking about the apostles? Just say it in common language.
Yeah, Andrew.
Just say you don't
Epistemology,
know. Just say you don't
epistemology is
know.
just the study of how we know knowledge.
Okay, well,
That's what it means.
All
It has
right.
nothing to do with. with epistles. What are you talking about? When I'm asking for your grounding epistemology, I'm asking, where do you get your grounding foundation for the knowledge you know? That's important when we're talking about theology, because, hang on, it's important when we're talking about our grounding for theology, that we would call that grounding epistemology.
Why are we getting into this?
Anyways, you had something. Go ahead, Ashley. Go ahead.
What I was gonna say is I agree with you, Andrew. Like, I believe that there are roles that are for in like leadership that are for men, but the way I look at my ministry or what I do is like the woman at the well when she met Jesus and Jesus called her out and basically told her past, and she had an encounter with Jesus, and then it says in the Bible that she went out and started telling the world like what happened, and she started talking about Jesus, and that's the same framework I'm in. And another, like, let's take away the podcast that I do, which is just sitting down talking to people about their testimony with God. I have a ministry offline where it's just going to go meet the needs of seniors and then showing them the love of God. I mean, to me, why would that only be for men?
I think if you're talking about maybe things like I do Bible study with other girls, or I do kind of outreach or something like that.
Yeah, outreaches and stuff like that.
I think that might be different than having a position of church authority. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about women in leadership roles. Right. So
And I agree with that.
Hang on. And when we're talking about ministry, I think it depends, because I think that if you have a ministry, it depends on the context. Are you in a church leadership role because you've created your own church? That's where we start to kind of dive into, are you clergy or not, right?
Right. Yeah, no, so I'm submitted under a church, and any of the Bible study content that I get is from the church that are from males.
So yeah, I was just saying, like, why would men rather talk to a tree? Probably because from the age of like 2, they were told that they can't express their emotions. They can't feel this. They can't feel that. They can't cry. They need to toughen up.
Yeah. What I'm going based off of is when you said, you asked them, why do you guys think women would rather, or men would rather talk to a tree? And they said, because women don't care. And you said, give me an actual good answer. That was both of their answers, and you didn't like their answer. That was them expressing how they feel, and you didn't like it.
But why do men feel like women don't care?
Yeah. I'm happy to engage with her answer because I think it's actually interesting and rather telling, right? It's the man's fault that he would rather do that. But this is the duality that I'm trying to point out. The duality is this: the reason that you think that men are so unpredictable, you don't know what they're going to do, this and that, is precisely because some men cannot control their emotions, because they don't have good impulse control, because they do act out, and when they do act out, they do a lot of damage because of their lack of emotional control. And yet, here you are saying, if only men had less of this emotional control could open up to us, wouldn't that be actually counterproductive to your position of the bear, though?
I think opening up to a part of empathy, like on a level of empathy.
Nick.
I'm willing to challenge my own delusion. I will say this. I'm willing to challenge my.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Wasn't this directed at you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you're
Sorry
kind of.
about
What did you say?
He was directing
you
all
didn't
these
hear what I said?
towards you.
No.
Oh.
You didn't hear what he was saying?
No.
None of it?
No.
Fix what?
Okay, well then I'll just have the conversation with the person who's listening to what I'm actually saying.
you
So
should.
anyway,
That's
back to where we're at.
Wait, you know what? Wait, hold on. I want to tune into something that actually just occurred. Andrew, the thing that you brought up was, do you think a man would rather share his feelings to a woman or a tree?
Yeah.
She wasn't listening to anything.
Right, she wasn't listening
even
to a
though
word
you've
of it,
been
right, 'cause she
perfectly
doesn't care,
That's
right?
one woman in a group full of women that you
even
feel
though
like that
you've been
about.
perfectly respectful, Andrew,
how are you
you've
gonna
been
relate that to
perfectly
everyone?
polite. She intentionally just refused to even hear what you had to say and hear how you felt and hear how you thought about the conversation at hand. She's literally just proved your point.
I'm just going to say it wasn't intentional.
It's also your fault, Andrew.
I'm just going to say,
It's
can I
my
say,
fault.
you're
Go
speaking
ahead.
on me, so can I say something?
Go ahead.
It wasn't intentional. I genuinely just spaced out.
He was, you literally
Right,
asked him
which
a
is
question.
why I would rather share my feelings with a tree. What would be the difference if I had shared my feelings with you? You had as
men
much of an
before,
emotional
and they've
response as a
spaced out.
tree.
Andrew, dude,
Okay,
I've shared my feelings with men before, and they've spaced out.
Yeah.
Okay, ADHD is a thing, honey. Learn about it.
What is the thing?
I said ADHD is a thing, honey. Learn about it.
Hold on.
Well, I mean,
learn about it. Any gender can have it. Any sex can have it.
Wait,
okay.
Hold on.
What's your ADHD?
Yes, dude. You space out. Like, hello.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear what you said. My ADHD was going.
Okay, and that's fair. And that's fair.
Okay, couple things
Wait,
here.
what? I'm sorry. I can't pay attention to a word you're saying because my ADHD is going.
That's fair.
But anyway, back to this.
Wait. Hold on. Okay, can you just scoot your mic
My
to the edge of
mouth
the table?
is literally an inch away from this microphone.
I don't know. Fix your posture.
I don't want to. My mouth is literally so close to this microphone.
But I'm saying you can scoot the mic back, and then you move your head back.
But I'd rather just sit like this. Like, I'm more comfortable
All right,
like
whatever.
this.
I'm not going to deal with this right now. Go ahead with your point.
Okay, my point is, it is like in our society, women do find emotional men who talk about their feelings less attractive and less masculine, and so they really don't want to be with them. So men will mask those feelings because women don't want to be with a whiny guy.
Who said that?
I have a couple things on this whole vulnerability shit too.
No, but who said that?
It's not what you say, it's actions. Women will leave emotional men. They just will. You see
who
it.
said that?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it depends
don't
on
think
the woman.
that's
First of
true.
all. I don't think it's a gender thing. Okay, first of all.
I mean, it's pretty observable. It must be by your own standard because you say that men are too stoic.
I can ask a couple clarifying questions on this. First off, men and women tend to try to resolve problems in different ways. Typically, men don't like to talk about our problems. We either want solutions or we're just gonna accept it and move on. Now, I do want to try to look at this from a dating lens here. So when it comes to this vulnerability thing, do you guys, just show of hands, do you prefer a confident guy or a guy, like if a guy's approaching you, do you prefer him to be confident or would you prefer him to be like kind of nervous and shy and shaky? So raise your hand if you prefer confident. Raise them high, please. You prefer confident guys. Okay, so you prefer nervous, shy, shaky dudes.
I don't prefer, like, honestly anything, because, like, if someone comes up to me, I'm not going to judge them for how they.
I prefer a guy
Really?
listening to me.
You're not going to.
No.
So your confidence is not an attraction trigger for you.
Confidence is attractive, but I've been with someone who I was very happy with. He was
So
a
you
dope
don't-
guy, and he was emotional. He was.
No,
Sorry.
but you're not. Okay,
What?
if given the option,
You're not telling him what he wants to hear.
Oh, what do you want to hear?
it might genuinely be her answer, but she didn't really I don't know if she fully understood the question. So
maybe not.
Would you prefer a guy to step to you in a confident manner or a guy who's like shaky, a little nervous, eye contact's not great?
I mean, he can be nervous.
So
I mean,
if
that's
he's
like
nervous, does that make him emotional?
Well, we're talking about vulnerability.
I think
here.
so I do think that would be the trigger, right? So if you're looking for confidence or things which you would gauge as confidence in men, I think that the metrics are somewhat similar between men and women for how they judge confidence. And I think one of those standards is going to be emotional control. So if a person, in other words, if a fire starts in your kitchen and a guy starts running around and screaming just like you do, you would say that that's not a sign of confidence nor competence, right? Yeah, so that would be this kind of lack of emotional control under adversarial conditions seems like that would be tied in with confidence and competence.
Well, I feel like a lack of emotional control doesn't people can have lack of emotional control and completely fake being confident. Like that's.
Yeah, I don't think that has to do with being
hang on.
confident
Yes,
at
that's
all.
true. But what's interesting is that's why when adversarial positions are pushed on them, you start to see whether or not that's a facade or it isn't a facade. That's one of the reasons that women shit test, right? Because they're trying to kind of push that and see if this guy actually is giving you a facade or if it's the real him.
Well, what I've noticed a lot is that you've made a general stereotype about women, just saying woman this, woman that, when you've made an assumption about one woman at the table. Not all of us don't care. Not all of us would rather a man speak to a tree than us. Like genuinely, like as me, like I try to be the best person that I can possibly be. If someone needs to talk to me, I'm not going to judge them for it. If someone walks up to me.
Yeah, but actually the kind of the fallacy here, or fallacious argumentations on your behalf, because what you're doing is taking a generalized statement and saying, but not me though. But it's not
I'm
mapped.
just saying, like,
but you're
personally,
generalizing.
Like, we could go around
Hang on.
everyone at this table.
It's not mapped to you specifically. So if I say, for instance,
Well, I mean, I
most
feel like
women, hang on. If I say most women like tall men, and you go, but I don't like tall men though, that's a non sequitur. It has nothing to do with what I'm saying. It would not change the fact that most women do, even if you don't.
But it does change an opinion.
Well, I'm just saying that not
That
like
you're
every
asking
woman has
for.
the same opinion. Like I have a different one, she's gonna have a different one, they're gonna have different ones. Like everyone, like you can't make a generalized. Sorry, I'm not talking. You can't make really a generalized statement based off of one woman, like per se. Like I don't want to.
We're not doing that though.
Well, you keep saying women this, women that.
Yeah, I know. I'm making a generalized statement based on what we see in observations in society. Not that every specific woman follows these same criteria. I'm sure that there's plenty of women who like short guys. I haven't met very many of them, but I'm sure that they're out there.
I mean, it's
but
just
in general, but hang on. But in general, they don't seem to like short guys.
Was it not a generalized statement when you said women don't care when men speak about their feelings? That's a generalized statement.
That brings
Well,
me.
no, that was applied at the micro, not the macro, because every woman at the table said that they know that men would prefer to talk to a tree rather than
What
men.
does that have to do with a woman
Okay,
caring?
that's where, that was where I had
That's
an
the
original
issue
point.
right there.
That's society's norms. That's not. It can be gender based, but it also
So
can't.
your objection to generalize, you object to generalizations? Is that your point?
It not necessarily. I would say that some men would prefer to talk to a tree, but that's just because of society. That's not because of women or men. It's not like a gender. It's not because of gender. That's because of how society has trained them to think. Like I would rather talk to a tree than anyone. It's not a thing about gender. It's just like comfortability, because like
If that's
opening up is
true,
scary.
I think we can test and see if that's true by asking a
That's not
follow-up
unattractive,
question.
is my point.
Let's just
One of
ask
my
a basic follow-up question. Do you think that men are more likely to open up to their feelings to women or to other men?
Probably to other men.
Honestly, it depends on the type, because I feel like with my
Just
guy
in
friends-
general,
Everything
Well, it depends, because you talk about different stuff with like.
Well, yeah,
girlfriends and
because the world isn't black and white, dude.
I
There's
didn't say
layers
it was,
to everything.
There's generalizations you can
There's
make.
layers to everything.
I have a comment.
I agree. There's layers to everything. But if we were to say that 51% would be most and 49% would be not most, would you say that most men would prefer to talk to other men about their feelings or would prefer to talk to women about their feelings?
From what I've noticed, actually, women, like most of my guy friends,
Women.
at least, they've talked about it, and I've talked about this with my parents as well, including my dad and my stepdad, and they're like, oh, like, there's just women and men have a different relationship. So if you're
Then why in the world would you take the position that they would rather talk to a tree about their feelings than you if you think most of them would prefer to talk to women over men? That makes no
first it
sense.
was-
It's absurd.
Because first it was trees and men, and now it's women and men. So what are we talking about?
Yeah,
Trees
yeah,
and
but
men or
if your
women and men?
position is, do you think that a man would rather talk to a tree about their feelings than talk to a woman?
I think that
right?
unless
That's
I
what
feel
your
like-
actual position is. Then why then would you say that you think that men would prefer to talk to women about their feelings?
I feel like anyone
over
would
men?
rather talk to a tree than another human being. It's easier to open up, honestly.
You think so? Okay, so I see. So you think that all people would rather talk to a tree
Not
about
all
their
people,
feelings?
but like coming from, I don't know, everyone here, I don't know, would you guys rather open up to someone or like talk to a tree, because the tree's not going to judge you?
So then let me, so then we can just clear this up
I guess if
really
you want
fast. We can
feedback,
clear it
yeah.
up super
But, like,
quick.
genuinely,
Hang on,
like,
we clear it up
talking,
super
like, with
quick.
I
mean,
Hang on.
like, see, the thing is with telling
We can
people
totally
your
clear
business
this
and
up
what's
in
going
1
on, so they
second.
can use it against
So
you.
going around with just a quick question, do you think then, going around the table one more time, that men would rather open up about their feelings to women or to other men? Show
Nick,
of
can you
hands.
take her phone?
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Do you think men would prefer to open up to other men about their feelings or to women about their feelings?
Honestly,
Going
women.
around the table.
I'm still saying women.
I'm gonna say women.
I say women, and I have some interesting statistics on that.
Okay.
Hold on, keep going.
Men probably. I don't know.
Probably women. If they're married women, but men, usually friends.
Probably men, because they can relate to what they're saying. Women usually aren't able to.
So Amy, you're a pilot, a model, and a high-end companion. So do you consider yourself a worker?
So it's a funny thing. According to the community, I'm not totally one, but according to the general public, I am. So I guess it depends who you ask.
Can I have you just scoot your mic to the edge of the table, like that corner? Perfect. Thank you.
When you say the general public, I'm assuming that you mean more people when you say general public.
I mean, I certainly haven't talked to anybody, but I sort of, I date, I am only attracted to wealthy, generous men who provide for me. That's all I've ever dated in my entire life. It's all I ever would. I'd rather be single than split bills. So yeah, that is how I like to live. But sport type of women have told me that I don't qualify as one. So I'm not sure why.
Do you not consider yourself a
No, they tell me that I don't qualify because I don't do the same stuff and live the same way. But I
Well,
very much
I
think
have
sex
to
work should
ask,
be decriminalized, and I think even if you hate it, the way we handle it in America is harmful, but that's a different discussion. So,
Well, I'm happy to get into that discussion, but before we do, you are. I'm just curious. What are you bringing to the table besides your body to these men who are taking care of you?
you'd have to ask them.
Well, I'm asking you.
I don't know. You'd have to ask them. They're the ones who want to date me.
So, from your perspective, what do you bring?
Me.
So, what does that mean?
I mean, you'd have to ask someone who loves me why they love me. I'm not a mind reader.
No, I'm not asking you to be a mind reader. I'm just asking, you are on the other end of this relationship. I assume you know what you bring to the table of the relationship, right?
If somebody loves me, and I love them, then I keep dating them. I don't really worry about the why.
So you don't know what you bring to the table?
I don't really give it that much consideration.
Well, if you had to guess, if you had to take the attributes you think that they're after the most, what would you say they were?
Don't know. I'm not a mind reader.
You've never even asked?
Never. Nope.
You've never asked, why do you love me?
No. Why would I ask
You
that?
never asked, why do you like me?
No.
That's an
You never asked, what are the things about me that you adore?
No.
You never asked any of those questions?
I have not.
So then, essentially, you're just giving them sex, and in exchange, they're giving you money, and that's it?
Hopefully
Or
not.
is this well, then what else is there?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them.
I mean, if you don't know, then I'm asking you. You're on the other end of the relationship. That's kind of an odd answer, right? So if somebody were to say, "What do you bring to the table between you and your wife?" You say, "Well, you can ask my wife." If they say, "Well, but I'm asking you, what do you think you bring to the table?" I think I would have pretty good answers for what I think I bring to the table. You don't have any?
No, not for you.
What does that mean, not for me? Does that mean you have answers for somebody else who's not me?
No.
No, you don't have those either? So you just don't have any answers at all?
Correct.
Okay. Very good faith, by the way.
I'm a little confused, though, because so you said you're a high-end companion, but you don't, just so I have this correct, you don't consider yourself an escort?
I sort of thought it was similar with very much longer relationships, but in the sense that I like men who provide for me. So I thought I was kind of with extremely long and deep relationships, but people in my industry say that I'm not. So
yeah, so
I don't know what you would call me. I don't really think about it a lot.
So you have a website. It says "World's Most Exclusive Model."
All of that was written by my lawyers for SEO. I've never actually read it, so I don't know what it says.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, if a guy contacted you and wanted to go on a date with you, aside from, I guess, paying for the meal, I mean, would you charge him for your time to, like, go on the date?
I would never date a guy who didn't provide enough for the vacation, the outfit, the wardrobe, everything else, too.
For a first date?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, a new guy comes into the picture. He's asking you out for the first time. I guess, what does he have to do for the date to actually occur?
I mean, it's been years, but many things. I've got to like him a lot. I've got to want to. And yes, he has to be very generous.
Yeah, so when you say very generous, though, I'm looking for something a little more concrete. Like, so you mentioned, like, wardrobe, he has to pay for clothes. Even on, like, first time eating, he has to pay for your clothes?
It depends what the plans are. I mean, again, it's been
he's
years.
taking you a nice steak dinner in New York.
Yeah, I'm going to expect an outfit. I'm going to expect shop. Like, usually, they send you to their personal shopper, and then the car picks you up at 7:30, and, all the standard stuff. It's pretty normal where I live.
Well, can I ask this maybe a different way? Let us assume for a second that you met an attractive man in an age bracket that you thought was fantastic. And he said, "Listen, I want our relationship to be purely material. I just want to have sex with you, and in exchange for that, I'm going to take care of whatever it is your material needs are." You wouldn't date him?
No, that's vulgar, and the answer would be no.
Well, why is it vulgar?
You said purely material.
Yeah, it's purely material.
Yeah, that's not for me.
So then there's something additional to the material that is valuable, right? Yeah, so what are those things about you that are additional to the material that are valuable?
for me to agree to go out with him, I've got to like him, and hopefully, if
Yeah, no,
in a
I
while,
know,
love
you
him. But
like
again,
him,
it's
all
been
that's established.
Yeah.
But if the material itself is not the thing, if there's additions to that from your perspective, what are those additional things about you other than your body, the material, that you think they're interested in?
I don't know. If he's asking me out, I assume he's interested. I'm more concerned with whether I want him or not.
By the way, Andrew, I sent you a text if you could check it really quick.
Okay.
Wrinkly gold digger. Thanks. Yep.
I'm a little confused though. Maybe it's just a question of definitions here. Sorry, I'm trying to get my notes pulled up, but they're not coming. I mean, so you don't have clients?
It's been years.
So did you used to then? Like you don't, are you, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but did you used to escort?
I thought that was sort of similar, but I've been told by that escort community that that is not what I am.
Okay. Okay. So there's no, like, let's say you go on a first date with a guy. Is he ever just giving, like, here's $1,000?
No, that'd be a bit reductionist for me. I'd say no to that.
But you've never been on a first date where there was like I'm not talking sex here, I'm just talking like going out on the date, where he just gave you like, here's $5,000, here's $1,000.
I've had men send me more than that and never meet me. Tons of them. So all things happen.
Okay.
I have one quick follow-up I was just curious about. I have a close friend of mine. He's in the chat on my end right now, who's a pilot. And he was just wondering if you could walk us through how you land a plane.
What kind of plane?
Any kind of plane.
Well, they differ. The over-the-gate speed is different based on the type of aircraft.
Just pick one. Yeah, pick whatever.
Piston, turboprop, jet, like
whichever
turbine?
one you want. Whichever one.
Well, so you
pick any.
You set up 45 to the downwind. You set up turn base, turn final. There's things that happen during that, and then you touch down, wheels first, then set the nose down. There's
but I mean,
whether you
like, let's pretend for a second I'm on a plane, whatever plane you pick.
Yeah, just
and I'm
told
like, I'm the passenger. Hang on, I'm the passenger, right? And I have to land this plane because the pilot like had a heart attack and he died. Then you're walking me through it. What's the first thing I do?
First thing you're gonna need to find where the push to talk is, declare Mayday. They're gonna give you progressive instructions. You might be able to land it. That'd be tough, but yeah. First you're gonna need to talk to tower.
Walk me through it. Mayday, Mayday. The plane's going down. What do I do? What's the next step?
You're gonna have to talk to tower. All this is gonna come at you pretty fast, faster in turbine than it is in piston. But it depends on the type of aircraft you're in. If you have any other flight crew, I would request.
Doesn't matter what it is.
No, it does matter.
Cessna,
It matters a lot.
I don't know. It's Cessna.
It matters a lot.
Okay, whichever, pick one. Doesn't matter which one.
Well, the reason it matters a lot is because all the variables change depending upon make and model.
So let's pick one. Let's pick any of them. Whichever one you want. Pick one.
Okay, so like I said, are you in the pattern? Are you at 10 miles out on final approach? Are you talking to center? Are you talking to tower?
I don't know any of this.
Well, you just asked me, so I'm telling you how you fly a plane.
I'm just a guy in a plane trying to land it. I'm terrified. What do I do?
A bunch of stuff, and you're going to need progressive instructions to try to live.
Okay, so what do I do? What's the first step?
It depends where you are. So is there retractable gear? Is the gear not retractable?
The gear is retractable.
Okay, so it's at a certain point. It's after you 45 to the downwind. Before you turn base, you're going to have to put the gear down. And you're going to declare Mayday, so they're going to give you the run.
Walk me through it step by step.
Dude, you don't listen. If you want me to talk, you listen.
Wait,
when I talk, you listen.
Andrew, are you thinking that she's not telling the truth about the pilot thing? I'm pretty sure this all sounds legitimate.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just wondering if you could walk me, because this pilot buddy of mine, he's saying just ask her to walk you through how I land this plane step by step.
I mean, it all sounds pretty legitimate to me, Andrew.
I'm not saying it's not legitimate. I'm just asking the question.
Right, but I mean,
every time I tell you how to fly a plane, you interrupt me, though. When I speak, you listen, Andrew.
Okay, I'm listening.
Great. So first, you're going to have to talk to people because you don't know how to fly a plane, so you're going to have to get instructions, otherwise you're going to die. Then you're going to get a bunch of things to do in series. There's speeds you need to be at, there's pitches, there's attitudes you need to be at. If you can get them done fast enough before dying, you might get it on the ground. It ain't going to be pretty. They're going to have the foam and the ambulances out. They're going to give you the runway, which is what Mayday does. If you're further out than that, you have more time to set it up, but it depends where you are, how close you are. They're probably going to extend your downwind, give you lots of time to try to save your own life. And then after you land, if it it depends if it has like reverse thrusters or brakes or what the plane has. They're all different, kind of like cars. And so you're going to have to slow down and taxi off if you're not dead by then. So, you know, there's a procedure. They'll walk you through as quick as they can, and you'll try to live. So there you go.
Andrew, I don't doubt her bona fides here. So, I mean, what's the...
Clown does.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to be completely honest here. I don't feel like she said anything. I feel like if I was going to explain to a person in a video game how you play a video game, I'd be like, press X, then Y, then X, then Y, then this, then that, right? I'm just wondering if you could just walk me through step by step, whatever scenario you come up with. You can come up with whatever scenario you want in whatever demographic you want, in whatever city you want that I'm going down over, and how you would instruct a person to land a plane. That's all.
Why is this man so mean to me? I've done nothing to him.
I am not mean to you. I'm just curious.
I'm finished talking to you.
Okay.
Hold on. Wait. There's a sound. It's too late now. Oh, good. All right. There you go, folks. We're talking about aviation here. It's welcome to the Whatever Aviation podcast. Really scintillating, me personally, I'm not a big fan of flying. No offense. Get headaches. The altitude. Anyways, all right.
We just learned how to freaking land a plane. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyways, going back to this. So I saw a clip on your Instagram. Like, you were on another podcast and they were asking you like something about money, and you're saying, well, I got like 20K from this guy and 30K from this guy. But these were like men you were dating over the period of time, or even some, I think you said, some men you haven't even met in person, they're just sending you money.
Yeah, that happens a lot. It's weird, but that does happen.
And like how do they get, like they slide into the DMs or?
Yeah, or your website or your socials or your YouTube, all the stuff, and they want to give you money. It's interesting.
Of the guys who you've never met in person, what's the biggest amount that a dude sent you? That you never met him. He's just like, I love you, Amy. Here's some money.
It's weird, right? About Findom, they're Fin subs. This is their thing.
Oh, you're doing like the Findom thing. Okay.
Not formally, but it happens anyway, I guess.
Okay.
And it's super weird. They'll send you the biggest. I gotta think. It's a lot. It's a healthy 6 figures.
Wow. 6, like in one transaction.
Yes.
Some dude sent you like 2 Bitcoin or some shit. Any Bitcoin? You ever received crypto?
No.
No crypto?
No, I wouldn't be against it, but no, it was
You're open to crypto.
US fiat, and the government got half of it because it's income.
Oh.
Okay.
Even gift?
You're welcome, state and feds.
So
no, it's income, right?
I thought if you write it as
do you know any like
the gift exemption? I think this year is like 12 or 14 grand. I'd have to look up with the IRS, so it's more than that.
You're at
So
3 figures.
and then I don't mess with tax fraud. I'm afraid of the government.
Oh, fair enough.
Do you know any like gay dudes that like just send people money without meeting them?
Right?
Because I'll take a couple bucks.
You should, sir.
Throw me a few dollars.
You should.
Got him.
As long as I don't have to meet them, like shit.
I mean, that's kind of what you're getting right now with the.
Whoa! Wait! Holy shit! That's kind of true.
Very good point.
There's a couple women. There's a couple women. Yo, ladies.
They are your real
ladies.
fans, though.
I need a couple ladies to throw through a couple TTSs. Okay.
How do you know it's not ladies behind the screen?
There's some. We get some. It's just the names. Beat and Cheeks. Probably a dude.
Or
probably a dude.
ladies. There you go.
Probably a guy. But okay. So also, I don't know if I can. You in your pre-show messages, you said you previously worked in 2 industries. Are we at liberty to mention those?
After undergrad. I did my undergrad at Cal, and I worked in biotech for a couple years, and then I did an MBA in LA, and I worked in oil.
Okay, gotcha. Yo, thank you, AB Check. Appreciate it. Like oil, when you say you work?
I was in the investor relations of a small oil company that we took public and then sold.
Gotcha. Wait, question, really quick, going back to the whole like dude sending you money and stuff. What about like including the guys you've met? What's the biggest like one-time transaction that you've gotten from a dude?
I mean, the men that I've dated for years?
Yeah.
It's been tons over the years. I haven't counted.
Wait, can you tell us like from total collectively from one guy, what's the most collectively?
I don't know.
Like 7 figures, you think?
Sure.
Any 8 figures or no?
No.
7 figures though.
Yeah, probably not 8, but 7, yes.
Mid or low?
I don't know. I can get back to you on it.
Get back to me, okay. And then total. all men total? If you had to say how much you've made total
I mean,
from,
again, state and feds got half of it. But
let's say pre-tax,
it's a lot.
8 figures total.
Yeah.
9 figures or probably not 9.
I wish.
That'd be nice.
I would not be here. I'd be on an island
You'd have to
somewhere.
send me a couple bucks there. Okay.
I would have a bigger plane.
So you said that on some issues you're a bit more liberal. Oh, we should have gotten to this while Charlie was here. In any case, you said that some issues you're perhaps a bit more liberal. So like abortion, labor rights. On others, like marriage and family, you're a bit more, maybe more traditional.
Yeah, I think most people peg me as traditional because I like men to provide and women to stay feminine and all that. But I don't have any problem with people who don't want that. Again, I like people to live the way they want. I'm kind of a libertarian in that way. And then when I said about abortion rights, I think abortion is a tragedy. I'd like to see zero of it, but I just don't think, like many other things, I don't think we can criminalize our way out of it. So that's why I said abortion rights, not because I sort of love abortion. I think it's a tragedy.
Sure. I perhaps want to offer a little pushback here. I mean, you said you're a little bit on the more traditional side with marriage and family. Maybe this is like on the macro level, you do acknowledge that marriage, family, that's best for society. But in your individual case, you said that like you've been in like 2 long-term relationships for 18 years. I mean, I'm assuming you don't acknowledge, like that's not a traditional dynamic.
Yeah, I'm not married to either of them.
Right. And so I guess how do you kind of reconcile that, the whole traditional thing, but you're dating? I suspect.
Well, that's why I said some things I feel. I mean, I don't know would you call it feminist? If I like men to provide, I wouldn't call it feminist. So,
traditional roles, though.
Yeah, I enjoy my femininity. I do some things that are sort of masculine, right? I shoot guns and fly planes, and that's kind of ascribed to men. So, but you're correct. I'm not married. That's for some reasons I'm not going to discuss on this show. But but I'm not anti-marriage. I think if people want to get married, they should.
What kind of guns do you like to shoot?
I used to own a Glock 17. I don't own that right now. But I go to Tiro Segna sometimes in Manhattan. If you behave better, you can come. It's a private club if you're ever in Manhattan.
Yeah, Andrew, if you behave better, she'll take you shooting with her. Andrew's a gun instructor, by the way.
I came from a entryway to this pathway and I was single. And then I met someone who partook in that journey with me in the frame that he became my long-term relationship for 3 years.
Not the fucking journey again.
Okay.
Did you do another fucking journey? How many journeys have you done? Everything's not a fucking journey. Nobody took the journey to own. What the hell? What is this journey? Why is every woman have nothing but journeys? They took the journey with. It's not a journey. You weren't just a small town girl living in a lonely world who took the midnight train going anywhere. Okay, you weren't her. It's not a fucking journey. All right, go ahead.
Nonetheless, with the first initial 3 years of this job, I was with somebody who passionately was supportive of it. And so now, in turn, around January, I left that person. And unfortunately, I've come to face the realities of dating and the culture of men who have separate expectations and separate experiences in dating, and that of as well what they are comfortable with in terms of either my past or as well my present with OnlyFans. And with that, fortunately, I've met many great men, and not people that I'm dating actively or any of that format, but just people that I've encountered and who I've been with in any relation to friendship as well. And with that, I've learned it is not necessarily forgivable in a sense where certain things, of course, cross boundaries, even my own, of my past with OnlyFans. But a lot of people are understanding and capable of grasping why I made these decisions, why I proceeded with certain activities or certain content media, etc. For instance, I filmed Boy Girl for a short period of time with my partner of a long term. We expected marriage, we expected engagement, we expected all of these things. And so for that, when I speak of that to any man who I'm even considering to be in a dating relationship with, they get that explanation and they grasp typically why I would have done so. Considering marriage is on the table and all these things, they understand that. Regardless.
I've got to ask. I have to, okay? Wasn't your journey to just about money? Wasn't it just a money journey? You were just taking a journey for some cash? Like, is it really, like, you over-complexify the shit out of this, right? Is it really that complex? You wanted a bunch of fucking money, and if you showed your, naked body, you got a bunch, right? It's pretty simple, isn't it? Isn't that the whole journey?
Pretty simple, yes. I mean, if we're not extracting any of the information as for what the money was purposeful for, what my intention with the money was. Yes, my goal was I will post images or videos of my body, whether it be nude or not, and from there we'll get money. Yes, completely. That is 100% what the agreement
Can I
was.
tell you something about this?
So it was a journey to get a bunch of money by taking your clothes off, right? Like, isn't that the journey? Hang on, it's not the hero's tale. This is not that journey. This is the journey of taking off the clothes for the money. That's the journey here, right?
That was the journey that I took. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That I
all right, that's
proceeded.
fair. That's fair.
You said earlier that you were in a relationship and it was accepted and he initiated, right? You have to understand a guy or a man that initiates something like that within the relationship, he's a disguised pimp.
Well, no.
Okay.
Let me formulate this. I made my decision to proceed with plans upon my own discretion prior to this person's involvement in my life dating format. So this was entirely my decision.
But it doesn't matter. I want to tell you something. If you were next to a good man with values, even if you initiated it and even if you want to do it, he would persuade you from doing this kind of thing. Because now you're young, you're beautiful, But what's going to happen after 10, 20 years when you no longer have this value in the market and then you have that past? And you explained also something earlier. You said when you meet a man, you explain it to them the right way, why it happened. It doesn't matter what you explain. If it's a high value man, this stain in your record, you understand what I mean? And you could never take it away. No money you do could erase that thing.
I completely agree. I think it tainted, in sense, who I am and who I appear to be. That's by
I'm
no
not
means
trying to
No, of course.
go.
I think I'm
Just
very
feel-
open and honest about my experiences with it. So
You
I know
should.
it taints the image that I have and the image that I hold with any potential partners and friends and any comrades of any format. So I understand that.
Do you still do it?
I still do it. Yeah.
So why do you do it? I'm just curious.
Yeah,
like, what is your?
so-
So I heard you say money.
Yeah, of course. I think simple basis, everybody does something for money typically. With
Yeah.
any job and any occupation that you choose. Of course,
Yeah.
passion. Initially, it was for money.
Mhm.
It later drove into passion of discovery of self. And yes, I know we can talk into
What?
journey,
Wait,
journey,
wait,
journey,
what?
journey.
Discovery of yourself.
Was it the
So-
discovery of all the shit that you can buy that made yourself happy? Was that the
She found
great
herself.
discovery of self?
She
Did
found
you
herself.
find yourself at a department store when you were spending a bunch of money that you made? Like,
But
I mean, honestly.
I'm curious
Let's
about-
be real.
I can fix her.
So
Just
I'm
kidding.
curious about one. I have
Anybody
one
can.
question. I'm very curious. Are you saving? You preparing to your future?
yes.
Or you're
So,
just going to spend and doing shopping? Because if you're doing this and putting this stain in your life, at least buy real estate,
Yeah.
save, and don't have kids because your kid's gonna suffer.
Damn, that's
That's
Can we go
that's
back?
a lot.
Hang on. Can we go
But
back
it's
to
true.
listen,
I
I
mean,
have to
in
go back
terms
to
of
this real quick. When did it stop being about making a bunch of fucking money because simps pay you money to see your naked body to a journey of when did it become self-discovery? Now it's about me trying to get in touch with my inner what? Your inner what?
Sexual needs? Not necessarily sexual needs. So inner just, how would I say it? Inner peace and inner tranquility. So for
Peace?
myself, so
Hang on, let her finish.
So for instance, I struggled with insecurities all of my life, anxiety a lot, and I didn't recognize it until I got older. As well, the biggest insecurity or biggest anxiety that I dealt with my life was supporting my parents. Neither of my parents were able to support themselves for a long time. And still continue to struggle, unfortunately. And so for that's what drives me most to continue this work, is to help.
So then, hang on. By this proxy, I assume that your parents are very much on board with your OnlyFans career.
They are, thankfully.
Both. So your dad is okay.
I feel so sad.
They're not in the sense where they want their daughter to be doing all these.
They just want to profit off of you.
They do.
That's sad.
It's
That's
sad.
I completely
The
agree.
reality is that's really
So
sad.
hang on. I just want to make sure I got this clear. You sit down with your old man who just adores you. You're his little girl, the pride of his eye, the jewel that he always wanted. And he sits down with you and he's like, look, me and your mom, we just can't afford to support ourselves. I need you to some dudes on camera. Can you do that for me? Like, I mean, that's never actually happened, right?
No. So, if I can formulate it properly.
All right.
I made this decision upon my own discretion. I was, I believe, 18 and a half, 19 at that point. I made the decision because I was witnessing what was going on at home. My parents are separated. They do not live together. They've been separate for a long time. Regardless, neither of my parents were doing well. My mom had just been left by her husband. And at that point as well, my father was wondering about everything else with his life and with his marriage. Nonetheless, it led me to what can I do to ensure that not only am I safe, but either parent is safe, whatever goes on with them. Wow. So that was my
Does your
decision.
dad work? Is he working?
He works.
What's he do?
He works in sales, just for a cell phone company.
And does your mom work?
So if your
My
dad
mom's-
could push a button tomorrow,
He-
like let's say we got 2 buttons.
Mhm.
Button 1, you stop doing OnlyFans and he's left to his own means. Or button 2, you continue to do OnlyFans and then kind of say, well, here's some money, Dad. Which button does Dad push, 1 or 2?
I think both parents would push the discontinuation of the job.
Yeah,
By
the
no means- they're-
discontinuation. So the thing is that
they're not fully.
while for you, the actualization of taking care of both the parents might be some kind of like coping motivation, your parents themselves, if they don't want it, how is it good for them for you to do that on their behalf? In fact, like I'm trying to think of this from my perspective. So let's say a daughter of mine comes to me and is like, Dad, you know, you're kind of broke. You know, you're kind of broke. You're just not making it, you know. But here's the thing. I've got this camera, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hump some dudes on this camera, and other dudes are going to pay me a bunch of money while they masturbate to that. And then we're going to get you out of this poverty situation. I would fucking lose my mind and go, no, I would rather die in the gutter. Die in the gutter broke with people literally spitting on me than ever see you do that. Is your dad like me?
No, he's not.
Literally, you
Like,
sacrificed yourself.
I did.
You sacrificed yourself, and instead of your parents telling you, I don't want you to sacrifice your future, yourself, your body, they literally push you there. Honestly, I wish I would be your mother. I would never let you do it.
What would you do? Would you smack her? Whoa, sorry.
I would, yes, sorry. I'll tell you
Smack
what I
her
would
around
do.
with
I would tell you what I would do if she was my
But
daughter.
it sounds like your motivation
Because
was financial security and financial stability, so I
wanna say
understand that too.
I come from a place that it's very, very much taboo, this stuff. I'm not going to tell you that a lot of Israeli girls, even Muslim girls, do it today because, you know, the world, it comes and it happens, you know. But for me, it's a super taboo. And if you were my daughter, I would protect you even if I have to clean houses, do whatever I can. I would never let you do it. And if you ever want advice, I'm always here for you.
Thank you. I mean, I appreciate all of the concern, and I do.
Mia, did you say that your parents were kind of absent in your life as well, and they were not so were there super?
No, so my parents
supportive?
were a part of my life. My dad was a part of my life. My mom is also.
Like they were involved in
They're both
bringing
involved.
you,
They're
or
just,
they
they're
had
just
their
completely
own.
separated themselves. That's all.
Mm.
So they broke up when I was 2. That's the only distinction. My parents were both involved in my life.
They seem selfish.
It's
Well, okay.
Well, no, hang on. Listen, you're ascribing motivation here where it doesn't belong. So, like, look, just talking me to you, I got to know this, okay? You see, you've engaged in good faith all night. It's been enjoyable to have these combos with you. This is the part where they get a little bit kind of sticky and tough, right? I get that because we have totally different worldviews.
Of course.
But diving into this, you can't be serious and honest here with me that your dad would prefer, or that you can use it as a coping mechanism, that I take care of mom and dad, and that's why I just have to do the ends. That's ridiculous,
It wasn't,
right?
but or just from the beginning, you said
Hang on,
that
hang on,
you
hang on.
did
Let her respond. Let her respond.
Or yeah, she knows where I'm getting at this. She made this decision, like alone.
I made this decision both initially for myself, and it also, of course, had the alignment to trying to figure out what's going on with my family.
But you had no guidance.
And you should
That's the
start a
problem.
group. Hang on. You should start a group for woman-splaining, because when we're in the middle of a conversation, she came in and woman-splained for you. No, what she really meant was blah, blah, blah.
No, I was
You
just
had an
stating what
entire-
she
hang on,
said.
you
It
had an
wasn't
entire
her
group
parents.
It doesn't matter.
You
She
had
didn't
an
have
entire
guidance.
group devoted to stopping the mansplaining, and here you are
I wasn't mansplaining. I was, yeah, and you can.
She had normal parents, not normal, but good parents that really care for her, that would protecting her and avoiding this and not push her to the fire just because they're financially bad. When I got to America and got divorced, I was sleeping in the car with my son until I made it because I didn't want to go and sleep with men and do all these things.
Perhaps you shouldn't take at face value exactly that we're being told the exact truth. It could possibly be that the motivation here is very self-centered, and what people often do if they have self-centered motivation is they move towards some form of altruism to cover the fact that it's actually a self-centered motivation. Actually, I'm doing this for this noble cause, which is this, when really the cause is just she wants the money.
And
so I'm just going to be super direct here. Isn't the ultimate cause here just that you want the money? And the ends of the money really are to benefit you more than anybody, right?
Ultimately, yes, the decision was based off of money. There's no.
But she's almost like trying to buy
Yeah.
the attention of her parents.
By no means. So
like
this is what I do.
through
want to
the
say,
support to get the attention.
But Andrew said something smart. Andrew said something smart.
regardless of my. Regardless of my
Andrew only says things that are smart.
No, I tell you what was smart that you said. To a lot of girls who do it without being judgmental, it's a lot of the things you say. It's like he said, it's a coping mechanism to justify that.
Thank you, Mountain Tiger.
I completely agree, and I know it is a coping mechanism for many. Justifyingly, just simply put, I did it for myself. I'm not dragging my parents. Yes, my parents do get benefits.
You've been doing some bicep curls lately?
I've been doing a lot of workouts. I lost a lot of weight.
She have a gorgeous body.
I'm just curious about this last thing. What benefits are your parents receiving?
They get financial support.
What does that mean, though?
Oh my God. I don't think it's important to necessarily give exact detail of what I'm giving them monthly.
Well, I would say, for instance, if I bought my dad a Snickers bar, that would be financial support. And then if I said, well, I give my parents financial support in order to justify a thing that I thought was immoral or that they didn't like, but hey, they're a bunch of hypocritical because after all, my dad let me buy him a Snickers bar. Wouldn't you say that that kind of support would be far different than like, I pay their mortgage and take care of their bills? So I'm just asking for this distinction of like, is it to that scale or is it to the Snickers bar scale?
It is.
That's all I'm asking.
It is to the mortgage scale, and it is also to the scale of buying one of the parents' home. So one of my parents doesn't own a home, so I'm buying a home for them. Separate. For the other one, it's mortgage, and that has always been a dream for them, and that has been a dream for me. I've never lived in a home.
So it was a dream for you. But you said that your parents would not support that if you told them that. Right, that you would quit and would...
No, I'm saying
Final point on this.
If my parents were to decide to quit or not to quit, they would absolutely not want me to continue doing this every single day. Absolutely.
So it is your choice.
So it is completely my choice, and that's what I'm saying. By no means am I here to bash my own parents.
No.
That's never my intention.
Anyways, so